You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
All right, welcome in. Happy Friday. It is Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer and Mike Schaefer with you. Good morning, gents.
And Joey Colbert. Yay!
Oh, sorry, Joey.
I'm just kidding,
And,
Connor.
and Joey Colbert as well. Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
I'm good.
I'm fantastic.
I enjoyed that little blast of Joey Colbert right there.
So at a certain point, it just like, I don't even say it out loud anymore. I don't even have to effort to say things.
Well,
It
you
just
keep
comes out.
in
and-
your defense, Connor. You cannot even see me through those computer screens.
That is true, but I was aware that you were here because we have had extensive
there
conversations.
be-
over
Yes,
the
we
last
did.
10 minutes.
Should there be a big screen that shows the producer next to the big clock that shows the time so you can look
Interesting.
through
That is
all
a
the-
good
the
idea.
graph?
If we just turned this TV on and it was a big picture of Joey,
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. Would not hate it. We'd see him working on his graphics all the time.
maybe we could remember. We could.
That's a good idea.
It's almost like a virtual name tag.
Yeah.
You put names below
You-
and lower thirds or
you-
something like that.
you
could
know what we could do when Matt gets back from his little absence for the crossover on his first show. Just put a big clock on that TV just for him,
interesting.
just so
I
he
like
knows what
this
time it
idea.
is.
You could say, you could say show starts at 6, show ends at 10, show ends at 2, show
And
ends at 6.
and if you don't have a crossover, you have to end your show at 2:00.
That's right, Matt. That's all right though. He's he had to get. I'm sure he had. I bet his plane probably took off in the neighborhood of like 2:45, and he just like zipped out.
Yeah,
there
that's basically what happened.
Which I don't even know how he did that, because as we discussed yesterday, parking at the airport is canceled.
Yeah, no, I that would give me too much consternation.
Way too much.
Now,
Way too much. It's the whole reason I missed that show last week, because I couldn't figure out how to make it work from a time perspective with the women's basketball game.
it wasn't. Well, that wasn't worth like trying to figure out.
Exactly.
You needed the game started at 11, right?
Yeah.
So you're usually there 2 hours before.
Uh-huh.
There's no reason for you to do half of a show and then dip,
Agreed.
especially when you would start from a place closer to Lincoln at your house than you would be here.
Agreed.
You'd fight traffic the entire time to go to the game.
All these thoughts came through my head.
So like there's really no similarity between
That's true.
your decision and Matt's decision in my mind at all here. So
Well,
because when you had even said it, and I was like, this seems like a terrible idea to you.
and then there was
Or
like
for you.
there was the idea that I could I could do the show from Lincoln, which then that would require more different things.
I don't know.
It's best to not make things complicated.
Thank you, Joey. That is
Yeah,
what we're trying to get to. here.
Joey, Snow, and myself had a terrific day that day. It was handled well. People learned about Cowboy TV.
Yeah, we sure
They
did.
woke up and had no idea that they were going to learn as much about Cowboy TV.
Is
as
it
they
Cowboy
did.
TV now, or is it still the
It's
Cowboy,
a
channel?
Yeah,
Okay.
Cowboy channel.
I like the idea of calling it Cowboy TV. I just wanted to make sure they didn't rebrand.
Yeah, that's true. I should get their brand actually correct. So that
Cowboy Channel,
Yeah.
which is you could find Michael Snow on there sometimes.
Maybe the next time Michael Snow is here, we all dress up as cowboys just in honor of him.
Look into that. I'm about to reach out to him and be like, hey, these are dates where you could be very valuable if you'd like to be.
Interesting.
So we'll see. I know he had a great time doing it. We'll see if he wants to.
Are you could he possibly be with me on the days of the NCAA tournament? Is that a situation?
I kind of wonder if he isn't going to try to go.
I would imagine that he would.
Yeah. So in discussions of him off air, it seemed like that was going to be. Now, part of it though, because when you travel for work and then you attempt to travel for not work, when you also now have a small baby child at home, I think he's going to have to sell that one. And I don't know.
Okay.
That could be difficult.
A lot of stuff up in the air. And we'll have, we are just, 3 or so weeks away, 4 weeks away, 3 weeks away from the start of the NCAA tournament. Let me think.
March is on the horizon.
2 weeks from when theoretically Nebraska would play its first game in the Big Ten tournament, right?
Correct.
So we would be 3 weeks away from the Friday of the Big Ten tournament.
Which that took a step forward last night with some results. Nebraska getting. Because it's unclear to me what it is. Is it a double bye? Is it a triple bye? Is it a quadruple bye? I'm calling it a super mega bye.
If that's what the show's standard wants to be for it, I can get on.
I'd like to call it a super mega
bye. Nebraska looking for a super mega bye instead of just a double bye,
which would put them 2 weeks from today, from their debut in the Big Ten tournament, and then potentially 3 weeks from today or yesterday, their start of their NCAA tournament run, wherever and however long that goes. So, yes, a lot of things coming up, but it's all starting to come to a head. But first, you must go west, young man. Nebraska basketball heads that direction this weekend to get the Must Bus and Triggered what's his name? Triggered Mick Cronin.
Triggered Mick Cronin.
Triggered Mick Cronin is going to be
Tankerous Cronin.
He's going to be very
Krabby
triggered
Cronin.
when
Crybaby Cronin.
He realizes like how well Nebraska basketball plays, just like as a unit. He's just going to think to himself, why can't my team be like
He's going to be triggered to see all that red in the stands.
He might be.
There was a lot of orange in the stands when Illinois was down at UCLA. I was amazed to see that.
He might be a little triggered.
It sounded like he took a swipe at teams that have fans that come to their arenas the other day in his press conference.
What did he say?
I don't.
He was like, "Are you guys bored?"
I'm just paraphrasing, but there was something to the effect that it doesn't matter to him if there's fans in the arena, and so and then something about we're not a truck stop, and
oh god,
yeah. Well, I think is that some sort of play off of the Bill Walton. Like Bill Walton would call other conferences that weren't the Pac-12 a truck stop, and then the Pac-12 was the conference of champions.
Here we go. I don't know. I can't attribute that to Bill Walton. I'm not
I
sure.
thought that was a Bill conference of champions was 100%.
Conference of
Bill
champions
Walton.
is definitely him.
But
Okay,
I thought the truck stop thing had like some basis in Bill Walton mythology as well.
Here's the quote. I don't know what this is in response to. Quote, "Oh, it would be awesome. It would be awesome. But you know what, Ben? Again, just like our team, we could really shoot. I mean, 7 for 20 is a bad night for us from 3. I've had some teams that shot 35%, and I was the happiest guy in the world. We shoot 35% from 3. It's a bad night for us. Now give them credit, but you can't have everything, right? You can't have everything. Look, I tell our guys all the time, you go to the best school in the world and the best neighborhood in the world, with all the best basketball tradition of all time, so it's 80 degrees out there, okay? There's people at the beach. I mean, we're not gonna, it just is what it is. We got great fans. Our students are great. I know you like to ask about it all the time. I mean, sure, it would be great to have every game sold out, but we're not at a truck stop. Bill Walton. I told you, I always try to invoke him because I miss him." There you go. You got answers to both right there.
Yeah.
I don't really know what he meant by the truck stop thing, but whatever.
I think
Shout
it
out to
comes
Bill
back
Walton.
to this like quote that Bill Walton had about other places being truck stops because they're not in the Pac-12. Bill Walton was a strange individual.
Why? Because they have
on the call.
excellent access to an interstate?
Could be, or they have, cars that surround their arena because they go to the games.
Yeah.
Could be that.
That's true.
Could seem like a truck stop because people literally stop to go to a game.
Yeah, there is some
not
traffic
ignore its entire existence
at that point. Yeah, it turns out the people in the Midwest care about sports, unlike people on the West Coast. Or maybe they just don't want to fight traffic and they do care
There's
about
a lot of
sports.
roads in LA.
There's a lot of roads, but none of them I want to drive on.
Which
I-5,
game will have more
I-10.
people at it? The USC or the UCLA game?
I would imagine UCLA. I guess I don't. That's just anecdotally. I don't know
Yeah.
how either do.
I think there's going to be a
attendance-wise.
fair amount of Nebraska people that have kind of like made this a thing. Like I know of a few people that
Definitely.
before the year, since they've started doing this West Coast thing where you're getting Oregon and Washington and they play them in a really close proximity, or the two LA schools, it makes for kind of a cool trip.
They did for volleyball, obviously.
Yeah.
Same type
Well,
of
and then
deal.
there's just a huge contingent of Nebraskans out in or displaced Nebraska fans in California and Arizona.
So you
This is
see,
your opportunity to see this team play like up close.
What if you made a super mega trip where you went out to LA, you caught a couple basketball games in the extended weekend here, and then you just beelined it for Arizona and you caught some World Baseball Classic games?
That sounds
or
amazing.
something
Sounds
like
like a
that.
heck of a
I
weekend.
talked to some dear friends the other night at the Creighton game who were like, "Yep, we're going down, catch a World Baseball Classic,
Been to one game. It was great.
catch a couple spring training games," and I was like, "That sounds amazing."
Did you know that our friend Kevin Cougars is on the World Baseball
I
Classic
found that
team?
out yesterday.
Well, I didn't know that at all.
That is awesome.
No, that's really awesome.
I don't know what games he's getting, but
Yeah.
that is incredible.
The environment of those games, like it's, I'm a baseball guy, and so obviously I'm just going to love baseball as it is, but the environment of those games is just really cool. The atmosphere of, I was there for the United States, Great Britain, which Great Britain wasn't going to bring a lot
Hey,
into it.
if you go to United States, Great Britain this year, you'll see Tarek Skubal. That's going to be his one start.
He gets to play one game. He was able to get through the insurance web. The game before it though was like Mexico versus, I think it was like Venezuela or something.
Okay.
And so there is just like a ton of noise happening in that game. Like every hit,
It's so unique.
It's just loud.
It's like soccer, yeah.
People care, and when it's their country playing, and there's just like this intense pride with all of it. This is a pool play game, and people were just going bonkers. Like it was cool.
Where are the finals this year?
I don't know. I am not sure on
'Cause
that. They have been in Miami recently.
Yes, the Trout Otani thing was in Miami. I remember that. Maybe they're back in. I know they try to do like Miami, Phoenix, and LA or San Diego, and then LA. I think is probably one of them too. So yeah, that would be a sight to behold, just to see that all that collection of talent in one
It's
place during
gonna be in
spring
Miami.
training, and they're trying. Oh, it's back in Miami.
yeah, it's in Miami.
the finals this year. Gosh,
I
interesting.
wonder if that's just because it makes the most sense to have it there.
It most certainly does. I mean, especially if you're thinking, some of the Latin American countries are going to be involved in the conversation. Like, at the same time, like you put it on the West Coast and you get the, Japan in the finals, like that creates a pretty good turnout. So I don't know. Either way, it's going to be awesome. So congratulations to Kevin Cougars, our dear friend, who is going to be part of one of the Fox teams for the World Baseball Classic. Welcome to a Friday show, everyone. We are pleased that you have decided to join us. And if you're not here yet, well, we are pleased in advance. So today coming up, we will talk to our friend Jake Sorensen in the 9:00 hour, who I believe is the possessor of a new open.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Joey
We
is
are
ex-
debuting.
Joey has gone to
new
work.
open.
That now this one, as Sorensen does often in his own, just because of his own personality, he like creates situations for himself. And so what? We've been doing the show for 8 weeks or something like that.
Yeah,
now.
this is our 7th
Joey
week.
has accumulated a lot of clips.
I
Of
probably
clips.
spent about 45 minutes just quickly just skimming through sound bites from him.
You do a
just
really good
quotes.
job of like marking stuff that you hear that's a little bit different, but there is a lot of marks on
The
the
man
Sorensen
just
tape.
delivers an insane amount of like one-off quotes.
Yeah.
In every appearance.
Well, you always wonder, like, all right, we're gonna have this guy on because he is an insane person. Mostly, that's the idea.
Yeah,
But
He's
you
our
always,
friend. Like we
yeah,
have a
yeah.
relationship with him that we know the insanity that goes beyond the public.
And usually that type of guest would be something for Friday, and that's why I
Right.
thought
but you have to deliver, right?
Yeah.
You can't be, I'm just gonna do a regular old phoner and get on with my weekend, and he does, because turns out that's just him all the time. So we'll talk to him at 9:15 today. He is our lone guest in the lineup this morning. We would love to hear from you guys. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number. And by the way, each week, including this very week, we'll be giving out a $100 gift card to Sky Bar and Grill at Prairie Flower Casino. And you can enter to win at 1620thezone.com. Tweet at Happer and Schaefer, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer on Twitter. Email Connor, Mike, Joey, 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers, where Kevin says good morning and Headley says, if Nebraska wins its first NCAA tournament game, I expect to see a completely nude Schaefer storm the court. On my screen, Schaefer, is this in the cards?
It is not.
Nah.
I don't envision storming the court.
Is that
if and
that's
when
the part
Nebraska
that bothers
beats
you the
Navy in Oklahoma City? I don't envision being nude storming the court ever. I want to be able to go to the second round game when they win. So why would I get myself banned from the arena?
Well, just remember, Nebraska is not a fan of storming the courts.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be,
even for their own fans.
I certainly wouldn't take my cell phone near Fred. So I don't want to get swiped at.
Not a good idea.
Yeah, I'll have some other reaction to it, I'm sure, but you will not see me storming the court.
Any of the other options, just not storming the court or being nude.
Yeah.
We're ruling both of those out.
Ruling them out pretty strongly.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see who the opponent is, and we'll see how many points they win by. Because, as we always say, they're definitely going to win an NCAA tournament game. And then elsewhere today on the show, we have a variety of different things coming at you. We'll talk a little bit of Husker football. We'll most likely get to that NFL quarterback topic. I'll say you never know what we're going to run into on any given day. We'll look ahead at the weekend in the Big Ten and sort of what has transpired, including a big game last night that mattered to Nebraska in their standing, and a big game tonight that matters to Nebraska in their standing in the Big Ten Conference as well. But they look like, I'd say, the favorite at this point to have not only super mega bye, but the number 2 seed in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, they have to do all of this. All of the scenario making only matters if they take care of their own business in terms of winning games out in LA, which is not going to be an easy task.
Right.
And certainly if they take 2 games out there, your reward is coming back and playing an Iowa team that bottled you up like nobody else has all year.
We'll do a little conference tournament mathing for Creighton as well, who finishes off their home slate tomorrow with Providence, senior day for Josh Dix and Nick Graves. There's some proposed rule changes that are on the horizon for college football. And we'll talk about, because it's a day and this show talks about college sports, money.
Yay.
We love talking about money. I'd say I like talking about money more than the sport itself, more than the actual football.
Certainly some of those fans out there.
I love money. But when we come back, I wanted to throw this in here today because I think it turns out similar when we do our college basketball power rankings with tiers, but we always squabble over a couple. So what I wanted to do, and this is based off of a little bit off of the Purdue loss last night, college basketball trust rankings.
Oh yeah.
I want
this.
I want to list some teams, and the question could be kind of, subjective because trust them to do what?
Sure.
But just a general trust level in some of the top teams in college basketball. We'll do that when we return on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. Okay. So what you're looking for as you prepare maybe you're thinking about this in terms of filling out a proper bracket. You want to win some money this time of year, like whatever it might be, in order to pick a team to go deep into the NCAA tournament, into the second weekend, into the third weekend, and raise the banner and the trophy at the end of the season. You have to trust them. Trust is important. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take some of these top contenders and we are going to trust rank them. And once again, it could get kind of subjective. What is trust? How much do you trust them to do what? So I think it's probably what it ends up being is a combination of trust / how good are they?
Sure.
At the same time, like how deep can they go? Does that sort of make sense, or would you?
No, that makes sense. I kind of like when stuff is sort of open-ended for the people to just interpret how they want to themselves, and you kind of lay it out there.
What do you think? Scale of 1 to 10?
Scale 1 to 10 works for me.
Okay. Michigan.
It is basically like a 9.5. I mean, it's probably as high as anybody that is out there. I think they're a tough matchup for anyone, and they can just overwhelm you in a lot of ways. And if they're going to see someone that's on their level, it wouldn't be until the Final Four.
I've seen them do too much dumb stuff to like fully, completely believe that they'll just be their full potential all the time. So I can't erase that from my brain. At the same time, I do think they're sort of like on cruise control a little bit. Can just night in, night out. It sometimes feels like they're bored. But and then they played Duke and that didn't necessarily go how they wanted it to go. It's very high. It's as high as anybody's gonna get, like probably a 9.
Yeah.
But I in the back of my head, I am thinking, man, I've seen some things that I can't really unsee.
Sure.
And if they do lose earlier than they're supposed to, which is anything before the Final Four, I will use that as it was like, I knew it. I knew it about
that.
Them.
Was the one.
That was the one. So yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's high. Duke.
It's same thing. I mean, those are the two teams that feel like they're just ahead of everyone else. Now we got to see. I mean, I still don't know why that game was played, but we got to see them play each other, which was fantastic because you get to see what feels like the top two teams in basketball kind of go at it. Now, if you're a Big 12 fan, you're like, oh, that's every week for us. Whatever. Calm down, Big 12.
Yeah.
But I would put Duke, same thing, 9.5. Like my expectation is these are teams that like it would be a minor shock to me if they're not in the Final Four. Like they just seem better than everybody.
They're definitely going to be 1 seeds at this point. If I put Michigan at a 9, I'd have to put Duke at like a 9.25 or something like that.
Yeah, just because
they won that game and they have the best player in the country. Like I think they have the best player in the country. That is going to take you. Not that we haven't seen the best player in the country get eliminated early before, but that's going to help with the weapons around Cam Boozer. Arizona is next. They're the obvious third 1 seed, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I mean it's weird because they're probably the team out of the top 10 that I have watched the least amount play. In part because
they haven't always been healthy this year either.
Yeah. Their best games have come at times where I haven't just been able to get eyes on them as much. They seem really good. I think just it's safe for me to say like an 8. But there's something about it where it's like I say an 8 and it's like I kind of want to go lower. I don't know why. I just kind of want to go lower. And part of it is because I just haven't I feel like I just haven't seen them, so I don't have as much of a like connected reason to the number that I'm saying out loud.
There is definitely a gap between 1, 2, and 3.
I agree with that for sure.
Number 1 and 2 are together, and 3 is separate.
Like 3 feels much closer to the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 range.
I agree.
Than it does to the 1, 2 range.
Got to get healthy, but they've proven that they can win even when they're not like completely at full strength. And this conference is an apps. I mean, I know you just made a joke about the Big 12 and hit them loving themselves, but this thing is a meat grinder.
Yeah.
So to have only 2 losses and then to be at Kansas on Big Monday, which literally no one has ever won, and at home against Texas Tech on a Saturday, like,
And Texas Tech at full strength at that time too.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. They've beaten everybody else.
But Texas Tech has some wins that nobody else in the country has. I mean, they've beaten Duke, they've beaten they've beaten Arizona. Like, they have been a really dangerous team, and now unfortunately they're just a lesser version of themselves.
They did not beat Purdue, by the way. Did Texas Tech? They played earlier in the year, but we do have a Kansas and Arizona matchup this weekend in Tucson. So look forward to that. All right, now we're into the more. I'll say I agree with you. Just like slightly lower.
Yeah.
8.5.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range.
Have you, like, so relative to these other teams, is like Arizona the one that you feel like you've seen the worst?
Seen the least?
Or seen the least? Yeah, I say worst.
I've probably watched Arizona more than
Makes
Duke.
sense.
I've watched Arizona more than Duke.
Oh,
this year.
interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just seen Duke more because whether it was a North Carolina game, I think I randomly had them on when they were crushing Syracuse the other day.
Yeah.
Like, in the sicko patterns, they're sort of just like one of the 4 quad boxes, but they're not like I'm locked in on it.
Yeah.
But when they played Michigan, I watched a lot of.
I've watched Arizona more because they play in a higher quality matchup.
Sure.
Like,
Well,
it's like I'd rather watch them. I'd rather watch that game.
The thing I've run into is that they play on Big Monday, and I have Monday obligations that prevent me from watching the game.
Right.
So that's taken me out of being able to watch them.
That's significant. All right, now we're into and I'm just going off the KenPom ratings for the order here. Illinois is 4th.
I'm going to put them at. This is where
they're like a 6.5 to me.
Yeah, I'm going to be higher because I just can't shake that I watched probably the best version of them in the last 20 minutes of that game against Nebraska, or the second half against Nebraska. But then I also watched them give away games to Wisconsin, Michigan State, and UCLA after that. And I get, like, okay, they haven't had everybody at their disposal, but everyone has injuries. Like,
yep.
I don't just accept that as a reason to. I'm going to say 7.3. Can't get to a 7.5.
I like that. That's
it's
fine.
Probably higher than maybe where it could be, but their upside is immense. It's whether they can get there. And then there's the Brad Underwood factor. Like, they sort of flame out early when they really shouldn't all the time. So
they burn a little hot over there.
There's more combust than trust on that one.
Agreed. Ooh, good. Nice. That's combust or trust.
Yeah. That could be the if we play a version of this in March, we could get little note cards and put them on popsicle sticks, and we hold up combust or trust.
Mine for them is, like your star player.
What was that?
I think Crash is screaming. Your star player is a true freshman, which he's really, really good, but he's a true freshman. You're having a little bit of trouble figuring out the whole Boswell Wagler like situation as Boswell has come back. Obviously, they're really big and they're really athletic. I wonder about them on defense, and obviously their ceiling is maybe as high as some of the, or on the doorstep of some of those top 3 teams that we just mentioned, but I just think their floor is significantly lower. And, the other thing with them, and you're going to hear this as a consistent theme as we talk about this over the next 10 minutes, I just got to see them win in the NCAA tournament. I got to see that.
Yeah, that's fair.
And until they do, I'm going to wonder if they can put, 3, 4, 5 games together. They play Michigan tonight. Full well expect that that's going to be a great game, as much as we just talked about the differences between Michigan and Illinois. Florida is next.
They have like the least amount of tested games recently because I just don't, I should say high end. Like, the SEC has a bunch of teams that are going to be in the NCAA tournament, but
of course they do.
The quality of those teams, I think, is a fair question relative to, the high end quality of some of the other teams. I just feel like they're kind of getting fat off of beating a bunch of the same caliber of teams, which isn't the worst thing. You could argue Michigan did much of the same in between their like blazing hot stretch and when they finally took on the best teams in the Big Ten.
If they didn't win the national championship last year, I mean, we'd be wondering.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, are they just now on a heater and they're just going to run this thing all the way through March? I'm going to put them at like a 7 because I just don't like. I think their upside is a little less than some of these other teams, but they have been consistently very good as of late.
Now you're going to have a tough time scoring inside with Chenyolu down there, but 3-point line you can get them.
Yeah,
and so somebody can get hot early against these guys and win. I don't really trust them. I trust them probably just ever so slightly more than Illinois. But it's like, 6.75 or something like that, or 7, in order to go deeper into the NCAA tournament. Let's stop and get to a couple texts here. Oh, Jeff writes in, he says, podcast I listened to inexplicably talked about hot dog lasagna in or out. Hot dog lasagna.
I was yesterday when I had some free time, was just rolling through Instagram looking at people's various breakfast lasagnas, and a lot of them are just making casseroles and calling them lasagna.
That's what I would imagine. It's going to end up being.
Like, and so then it was like, all right, I want a breakfast lasagna, and so I was like with noodles, and then I was looking at those, and like, this is fascinating. I don't know what this would taste like.
Another texter writes in from the 515. How does Nebraska have to finish to hold on to a 3? And what would drop them to like a 5 or a 6 or a 7? We can talk about that a little bit later.
Sure.
I don't think they're going that low. Honestly, I don't think there's really a realistic way where they drop outside of a 4.
Yeah, I think they're as safely in a top 16 as you could be, where you're like, height is maybe being the last 2.
So the texter is asking, like, what if they lose each of their last 3 and go one and done in the Big Ten tournament? I still think they're a borderline 4.
Yeah,
like they're a borderline 4, like 5 at the worst.
They have so many, like, what is it, wins above bubble, and then
what? Now Ken Palm would be mad at me for saying this. Did you see his blog post?
No.
Ken Pomeroy's blog post. He was like, "Listen, it's called WAB." But people have been referring to it as WAB over the last couple of years. Yeah, but he said it's WAB. Guess what, Ken Pomeroy? I don't care. I'm still going to say WAB because I think it's cooler.
Is this a GIF GIF thing?
It is a GIF GIF thing, which I still and always will say GIF.
Yeah, I'd say GIF.
Yeah. Wow, we're the same on that.
And I get
people are mad at us for it.
Yeah, and they're like, well, that's not what it is. And I'm like, well, that's what the creator called it, and that's just what I've said.
I have no explanation for why I call it GIF. I just like it better. I just like to say it that way.
Yeah. I don't know. I get kind of weird about it because I don't want to be corrected on it anymore. So I just find ways to avoid even saying.
I just call it both ways.
Wow, you got to pick a lane,
GIF?
Joey.
Just depending on the day.
You got to pick a lane, Joey. Let's go through a little bit quicker now. Houston.
I wanted to trust Houston a week or so ago. I trusted Houston, and then they lost every big game they played. And then I went back through, and it's like,
I don't care. I don't care.
I don't know.
It doesn't bother me with them because I know the floor is so high.
Yeah.
And
I'm comfortable putting them at a 7.
Like for a long time, the thing with Houston was we know they're going to be awesome on defense. They're going to be in these rock fights. What happens if they miss every shot? What happens if they score 47 points? That hasn't been a thing in a couple of years. Like they have individual scorers.
Well, they have great individual players.
The Flemings guy is so good. Uzan from I really trust him. And some of this is based on pedigree.
Sure.
But like they've lost games, but they've been to really good teams and they've been in these big games 3 in a row to Iowa State, Arizona, and Kansas now. I just trust them. So wherever you put them, if they're a 1, if they're a 2, they're not going to be a 1. If they're a 2, if they're a 3, whatever it is.
I don't think they'll be a 3. I think they're pretty safely going to be a 2.
I'm penciling them in. I'm going with Houston are my guys. I'm going with like 8.
So the thing is, I was like, they were in the realm of the Michigan Duke sort of territory. And then I can't shake, you lose 3 straight games to these other teams. Like, again, that doesn't take you out of being a contender, but
trust against expectations.
Yeah, I mean, you got to beat one of those teams in that stretch, right? Like, you can't lose to all 3, and they did. And so for that, like I said, I'm not dropping them to like a 6, but I'm putting them at a 7 because my feelings are a little hurt.
Iowa State.
Probably at a 7. Similar, like I just feel like they're in the same range as some of these other teams where I could absolutely see it. I'm not as high on them as you are.
I am high. I'm high on the Cyclones. I'm very high.
You know, I like depending on the draw, like if they're the 2, I can see them making a nice run. I also, if they're the 2 and Nebraska were to get them, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is a nightmare to me. Like I would rather, if I'm ranking it, I would probably rather Nebraska see Iowa State versus see Houston.
I'm just so Iowa State pilled.
You've been on them for a while.
I think
there's no reason for you to walk away.
Josh Jefferson is the best non-Cam Boozer player in the country.
Okay.
Lipsy is an absolute freak, both offensively and defensively. Like he's so long and athletic. Momcilovic is shooting. I just looked it up. 51% from 3 on 205 attempts.
Wow.
Okay. He is the best 3-point shooter in the country on a team that has Tamin Lipsy and Joshua Jefferson.
That's pretty incredible.
I wonder what's the highest percentage of all time
for a season. That's a great question.
For how many attempts?
Yeah,
for that many of attempts as well.
Insane amount of attempts to be at 51%.
He'd be very well qualified. At this point, it's not just like, oh, he shot.
Your
like
guys that are like
threes.
50% are like ones that take like 75. You know, I don't know how that works.
Tops, like because if you're,
of course, I would pick a number where you couldn't get to straight 50%.
It'd probably be like 8. You know, I made 4 out of 8 this year. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I love them. With that being said, you can't like super trust them because that. You know,
they have those. They have a couple.
They had that weird one against BYU and all that stuff, and they don't have necessarily
the TCU one is the one that I think.
That's right too, and they don't necessarily have this long, extensive history of making deep runs in the NCAA tournament either. So
they get the reverse of the Florida Houston, where it's like last year those teams proved that they have the ability to get to a championship game. Florida obviously has won titles before. Iowa State, it's like my entire life. Oh, this is Marcus Pfizer. Look how great he is. Here comes Hampton. You know what I mean? Like it's just they have, regardless of who have been the coach, regardless of like whether they're one of the 8 best teams, whether they're the 12 best teams, they just have a combustibility to that program that is sort of hard for me to ignore.
Okay.
And yet I feel comfortable again putting them at 7.
So I want to do like a handful more. Let's go pretty
I'll go
quick.
as fast as I can.
Purdue.
I'm putting it at a 6. I don't think that they are at the level of these other teams.
It's the lowest so far. I think
they have different ways to beat you, but I think ultimately they don't finish games. They just don't, it's hard for me to remove the fact they missed all those free throws. Braden Smith completely went away at the end of the Nebraska game.
They had 4 chances to win the game last night. There was 4 straight possessions where it was a 1-point game. It was ridiculous.
Comparing the end of, and I know Creighton didn't win, comparing the end of sequence for Creighton and the end of sequence for Purdue, where Braden Smith, the guy who's been around a long time, great player, just chucks a 30-footer with 3.5 seconds. Like basically he caught it, panicked, shot it.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Like that's a guy that you want to catch it, get into somebody and try to draw a foul. And instead he's like, I'm going to chuck a 32-footer.
I think he panicked because Michigan State clearly blew up what they were trying to do, and he just let it rip. And he thought, like, I'm Braden Smith. I have to shoot this. And
that is 100%. We're going to go through this fast so then we get stuck on this. It's 100%. I'm Braden Smith. And then,
he bricked it bad.
Like,
Creighton at least got 2 good looks to win. They missed them both.
I said out loud, like, what are you doing? And Shelby's like, isn't that what you wanted? It's like, yeah, but what are you doing?
Right, exactly. I'm with you. I just... Smith is seasoned and he's definitely still one of the better guards in the country. I just it's just hard. It's just hard to really
someone
trust
will
him.
Get him that shouldn't.
Yeah, it could be early.
They feel like a round of 32.
We're starting to get into the teams where it's like, oh, you could go early if things really break the wrong way. UConn.
I'm going to put them at a 6 too because even though they absolutely demolished St. John's after I said that St. John's was better, and I know you're going to talk about the pedigree and the seasons of winning and all
pedigree.
Of that. I just there's too many games against subpar Big East teams where it's like they've had to kind of like pull it out of their butt.
Yep.
And I can't trust that.
I think they've awoken, and mine's like a 7.5 or something like that.
Is that your like third highest? No, your third highest is
Arizona,
Arizona,
Illinois, Florida, Houston, Iowa State. I love Houston and Iowa State.
It's those two.
I like
you
both
had both of them in 8.
Yeah, I'm in that similar range with UConn.
Yeah.
I just think like wherever you put them,
that might be our biggest difference of anyone.
It could be the biggest discrepancy. Michigan State. This one is low for me.
It's same as Purdue.
Yeah,
if Purdue's a 6, Michigan State's a 6.1.
I actually would put Michigan State slightly lower than Purdue. I know what happened last night,
right.
But I would put them like if Purdue's a 6.5, then Michigan State's like a 5.2.
Yeah,
I'm not in at all.
That's fair.
I'm not in at all.
You don't have to sell me that hard on it.
Yeah, Gonzaga. Nobody watches them. What are they doing up there?
Yeah,
what are they up to?
I'm comfortable putting a 5.5.
The only time we remember them is from the Players Era Festival when they got blasted by Michigan by 40.
I'm at a 5.5 that they could get to.
Your Gonzaga Bulldogs, famous for doing a lot of things, including beating Alabama, nice, getting blasted by Michigan by 40, and losing to Portland,
who they then blasted by 40.
Yeah.
That was one of those, if you gambled, you're like, oh, man, can they set a line high enough for what Gonzaga feels like it needs to do here?
Yeah. I still like this team. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've really super checked in with them. But I know what I saw at the beginning of the season, and they're big, they're experienced, they're like it's Gonzaga, and they've gotten over their whole NCAA tournament woes thing. Like,
I don't even factor that into it.
Mine's in the 7 range, I think.
Yeah, I don't know that I put them in the same caliber of those teams that when Gonzaga was making deeper runs. So I think they're just a little lesser than.
Let's do 3 more just quickly. Nebraska.
I'm going to put them in the sort of the Purdue, Michigan State bucket. I'll put them a little higher than both of those as a straight homer reason. I'll go 6.25.
I'll put them higher than Michigan State, but lower than Purdue.
So 5.99.
Yeah, sure. 5.99, 6, somewhere in that range. I think they have a pretty high floor, as we've talked about all season long, but the right team on the right day could get them.
In a single game context, I trust Nebraska more than both of them.
And that's ultimately what we're talking about.
Yeah, in a straight single game context, I trust Nebraska gets to the version of itself more than those.
I'm glad you said that, because here's a funny one. Kansas.
Single game
context. I have like a 0% chance or a 0% confidence rate in them. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, it's not going to be on a Monday, so they're a 4.
It's not going to be, the tournament's not at Allen Fieldhouse this year.
Nope.
Interesting. But they have that guy. He's so good.
He is, but they lost with him to Cincinnati. So who knows?
I don't know. Do they like each other? Who knows? They could
They
could be a spontaneous combustion team for sure.
I don't know how much you got into like the mock selection thing and like what people wrote up of what committee members sort of talked about. And one of their discussions was, what do you do with Kansas and Darren Peterson? And they said that the consensus there is like, we don't need to do anything. They've largely been the same team record wise with or without them. So why do we even have to factor this into what their seed's going to be? This is what they are. Yeah. And I actually thought like, oh, I kind of appreciate they sort of were relatively smart about this.
Even he's only had like one game this year where he's had to like carry him, you know, to a monumental victory or something. So I mean, I think it's a fair point. All right, I was gonna do like some combination of like St. John's or like Iowa or something like that. Is there anybody else you want to put a confidence rate on based on maybe you think differently from the public on them?
Yeah, I feel like Vanderbilt is 100%. I will take the other team. Vanderbilt plays in the NCAA tournament.
Absolute
I'm putting them at a 1
for sure.
Arkansas, I like more than I probably should, so I might put them at like a 5.5.
SEC honk Schaefer.
They're fun. I guess that they're going to be this team that I talked myself into doing more than they probably.
They're definitely
will.
fun. I mean, they're very capable of scoring like 120 points in a single game,
and then maybe also giving up 121 points in that same game.
All right, let's take a break. If anybody wants us to do another one, we certainly can. But I got something I want to bounce off of you all and Mike Schaefer coming up next on 1620 The Zone. I have two. Did you see this? Is for you both here. Number one, did you see the AI recreation of Fernando Mendoza when he when he gets drafted by the Raiders? They took the Fernando
No.
Mendoza headshot and then they gave him like a neck tat and made him angry.
Incredible.
It was really funny.
I gotta see this.
You guys should check it out.
That's incredible.
I'll show you, Schaefer. It's pretty damn good. Let's see.
Do they do like a voiceover or anything?
No,
or
it's just
a photo.
It's just a picture. It's really, really funny. So I probably should have had this ready to put up on the stream here, and of course now I'm not able to find it, but I did see it again on my way in. If somebody could find it, send it over this way, because he's talking at the combine this morning, and I'm sure he'll have a lot of interesting and fun things to say. Also, Joey, let me know if you find it. The second, did you see this is the main one that I want to talk about this segment. Did you see what happened when now Penn State quarterback, Iowa State transfer Rocco Becht went and met the media at Penn State for the first time yesterday?
No,
I saw 2 days ago, I guess.
I saw like some tweets and there was clearly more to this. I just didn't get a chance to investigate it. So I know there's something more to it, but beyond that.
So he sat down. It's not unlike any other major college football program in the country, or really college football program in the country. They're sitting in this big room. There's a variety of different tables. They have name tags out. Rocco comes out. Obviously, his table is a little bit fuller because he's the quarterback. And he sits down, or he goes to sit down, and the media is all like, I bet this is a little bit different than Iowa State, right? Like that sort of thing. And Rocco is like, I don't really know what you guys are talking about. But basically, everybody just started to drag these media dudes who were sitting at this table, who clearly have the thought process of like, Iowa State crap, like small potatoes. This is Penn State, which is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I love when Penn State gets dunked on.
Iowa State has been good enough
but
to where
see, it's not even like obviously there's the success of the two programs, and there's no doubt Iowa State has been good enough. But like the amount of media coverage, Iowa State has a lot. I mean,
because Des Moines is like 20 minutes away. So
right.
You're from the central hub of it.
Right.
And they've been good enough. Like there's enough explosion of media coverage that all of these teams have more than just like one reporter that covers them now. I'm sure there's a complete and utter misunderstanding of what Iowa State football
100%. This is classic
from up there.
Penn State or East Coast. Just I live in a bubble, and I think of Iowa State and I think of cows, which is fair because it is a cow town, but they have media there.
They're a cow town with media.
They're a cow town with media.
No, like this will come up with Nebraska every now and then because Nebraska has a massive media, horde and all of that. But the only time it really does come up, and I was part of it, is last year. Kevin Gallick comes out to do an interview, and this is the long snapper that played at New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just I was like, hey, I gotta ask, like, when's the last time you've done an interview? And he's like, well, like I've done some phone interviews, and I was one of the people that talked to him over the phone. And he's like, but the last time I've done an interview where there's like a camera and 3 people, never
happened in my life.
So, there's the main press conference is going on, and there's like 8 of us out in the hallway and like 3 camera people. And then
now keep in mind, that's the long snapper.
Yeah.
Rocco Becht has talked to to the before.
Right. And so it's like, there's a very big difference between that interaction and a quarterback that was regarded as, could he be the best in Iowa State history, which is just utter slander to our guy, Seneca Wallace, by the way. But that's neither here nor there.
Who you hate?
Well, I mean, he's pretty good. But no, the expectation of Rocco is really high. And so obviously it's not like he hasn't dealt with media or questions.
So I think there's a bigger picture buried in here a little bit, which is like when you hire a coach who comes from a place, and nowadays you could bring all the transfers along
Sure.
with you, right? When you hire a coach who comes from a place that is perceived to be lower, and we'll talk about money a little bit later on in the show, just as far as what Penn State feels about itself and all those things. It brings this interesting dynamic to the table of like, well, now we have these guys who are like basically coming up from AAA. Like, if and it's not just the media, I'm sure it's the fan base as well. You treat the guys who are coming up from AAA with kid gloves a little bit, and you're like, yeah, these guys, I don't know if they're cut out for the big leagues, but it's not so bad. Like pat on the head and stuff like that. It'll just like that's the vibe I get from out there, which it's a whole nother thing as to like why, but that's the vibe I'm starting to get from out there.
Yeah, I mean that's
Hiring Campbell and bringing in a bunch of Iowa State guys.
that's the remarkable part of it is if you hadn't gotten Matt Campbell to say yes, who knows how far down the list
Correct.
you're going.
Yeah, you should be indebted to him.
Then you're grabbing Manny Diaz, I guess, maybe at that point, or whatever else it is. So I mean, I don't know that there should be a whole lot of high and mighty feel at a place where you kind of fired a coach that I think is ultimately going to be better at Virginia Tech than the coach you hired at Penn State. And I like Matt Campbell. I don't think he's going to ascend you beyond what James Franklin was already doing.
I agree.
So congrats, I guess.
Congrats. Yeah. And then maybe in a couple of years, you could make that big hire that you've been dreaming of.
Maybe.
All right. We'll take a break. Be back 7:00 hour coming up on 1620 The Zone. All right, we're back. It's Friday here on Happer and Schaefer and 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Still enter online at 1620thezone.com for your chance to win a year's supply of Girl Scout cookies brought to you by the Girl Scouts, Spirit of Nebraska. I'm seeing more and more of the signs and stands out there for Girl Scout cookies. Why not have them for a year? At 1620thezone.com, you can enter online. Or, of course, you could go to girlscoutsofnebraska.org to learn more information about the cookies themselves. The cookies, the people, what they're about, what they're doing, what they're cooking.
I'm going to make it a goal of mine for the weekend to buy some Girl Scout cookies. Find
it's like
spot.
I think it's one of those things where, when you have your phone out and you just say like lasagna a whole bunch, like it starts feeding you social media posts of lasagna. Sure. I think if you just start talking about Girl Scout cookies or you start thinking about Girl Scout cookies, the Girl Scout cookies will magically appear in front of your face.
I'll stop by a big box store this weekend and they will be outside and I will hand them $20 and come away with like 2 boxes.
We're looking at decent weather too, right? Oh, they'll be way out.
Yeah, it's gonna be up to 67 today.
Yeah, today is good, and then I think tomorrow and then Sunday stinks.
Yeah,
Sunday there's allegedly some sleet. Snow.
Allegedly.
If you look at the weather all next week, there's gonna be a bunch of precipitation,
which is good.
Yeah, we need it. As long as it stays above 33, it's all good.
We need the precipitation.
Do.
Are you here for the farmers?
I'm also here as someone whose lawn is not even a year old. I need the off season.
Now that
water,
you definitely need, yes,
for sure. And I don't turn my sprinklers on until much later in the year.
It looks like rain all week next week. Ouch! Are we going to play baseball at the Chuck Box on Friday? The Jays and the Zags.
Do what all the NFL teams do.
A rematch.
Build a dome.
2021 Sweet 16.
Wow.
Hopefully it doesn't go the same way.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to build a dome at the Chuck Box.
It's going to solve everybody's problems.
But they do have a new scoreboard, new ribbon boards, things like that.
Looks nice.
That won't protect you from the rain.
I wouldn't want baseball on a dome is kind of depressing. I'm not gonna lie.
I agree, especially when there's when the stadium's not full.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, for sure.
Tampa. It's like when they play those college baseball games at the bird killing stadium, which they're doing right now.
The Dairy Queen Classic.
The Dairy Queen Classic and a variety of other. Nebraska was in like the Cambria Classic.
Yeah, I don't think it's the Dairy Queen Classic anymore.
It was the Dairy Queen Classic at the Metrodome.
Yeah, definitely was at the Metrodome.
I think it's the Cambria Classic now.
That sounds right.
And I've watched some of those games. It's just like
it's kind of off-putting.
It's very off-putting.
So, and like
there's just random lines painted all over the field.
Like my favorite team plays in a dome, and I've watched more NFL games in a dome than not in a dome. And there's reasons where it's great, but also open air football is superior. Open air baseball is certainly superior. It's just I get why these teams have domes.
Sports are meant to be played outdoors.
As long as you have good turf.
Yeah.
Don't have bad turf, then you'll be like the Steelers and you'll get absolutely smashed on your report card for it.
Oh no.
The Steelers got last on the report cards.
They did?
Yeah. They got last on report cards, or they're I think they're one of the bottom teams because I think Arizona.
I think they've been owning last place on the report card.
The Bengals are bad at everything, but
I'm
pretty sure the Steelers were either dead last or maybe they were just in front of the Bengals.
So the NFL went out of their way to try to prevent this from being publicized after like years of reports about it, and I'm pretty sure Mike Brown throwing a fit because he owns the Bengals and basically every year.
Cardinals got enough.
Wow.
Vikings got an A+.
Yeah, I mean that's they've been up there.
But
for
Steelers
years.
got D-, Bucks got D, Bengals got a D+, so they are fourth to last.
The Bengals are on their way up.
That's right. The Bengals have gotten a lot better this offseason or this season. Thank you.
Packers got A-, but Matt LaFleur got a B-.
So the Steelers got
O'Connell an A.
I gotta find that.
I would imagine so. Everybody loves that guy, right?
There's like a weird.
I like him better than
the Minnesota
LaFleur
fan base that wants him fired, and I don't get it.
What the hell?
I don't. It's like okay, so he's got a 13-win season, a 14-win season. He's had one losing season in his career, and they had to start Jaron Hall and Nick Mullins at quarterback for half the games. and you want this guy fired.
I do want to know. This is why we need to get to this NFL topic today, because I want to know your dream quarterback for 2026 for your.
I
Minnesota
saw some
Vikings.
stuff yesterday that would not be a dream.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm guessing you do.
Mustache Adam writes in, how the hell did the Gary/Hammond Bears not get last in turf conditions?
That is a very fair question for Mustache Ad.
I'm not sure. I think
They have the worst surface in the NFL every time they're on television in that stadium. It just looks awful.
it actually, but it feels like it holds up it later into the season as you compare it to like Pittsburgh, who does not hold up. I don't know what happens in Pittsburgh, but the grass turns brown in like September. It's like September 29th and the grass is brown.
That's fair. It's just I have so many like memories of games at Soldier Field where there's a little bit of precipitation and then it just looks like a muddy mess all the time.
Yeah, so the Bears get a C on home game field.
Okay.
So
That's way better than I would have thought.
Seems high.
What did Pittsburgh get?
Let me pull that up if I could find it.
Had to have been an F because they got smashed on stuff.
Well, but does home game field encompass like the atmosphere environment of everything too?
That's a good question.
Pittsburgh,
Yeah, that could play a role in it.
Home game field F- for the Steelers. I didn't even know you could get an F-.
Yeah, I didn't even. Yeah, their locker room's also an F.
So Pittsburgh got
treatment of families
F. Home game field F-.
Team travel is an F.
Team travel F. Team ownership D-. They got last. They got dead last
that's
overall.
incredible.
The Steelers.
What has happened?
This
to the Steelers?
once great organization is now a sham.
And now they have Mike McCarthy.
Look what happens when you employ Aaron Rodgers for 1 year.
That's an incredible
An
point.
expert at family relations.
And they're considering bringing that guy back. I don't think so.
Or maybe not. He might think of another particular team that
Joey,
needs a quarterback.
Stop.
Okay, we're already talking about the NFL. We might as well just do the NFL topic now. I feel like we're at the right spot. I want to know, Mike Schaefer, considering everyone and yourself included hate 9 and his face paint.
Well, Joey knows where this is going. If I have to choose between JJ McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, it is going to be the worst NFL season on record. Just a disaster. And how you would even allow it to get to that situation where you're choosing between
I can't imagine
like a 40-some-year-old malcontent that will just tank your roster, or a 23-year-old, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to wear a bunch of eye black and say a bunch of weird things in an effort to connect to people who don't care. They just want me to complete passes and not sail them 85 yards out of bounds.
What do you think about his health?
I thought Kwesi had been gotten rid of. It should get better, but that would be bad. Well, he's made out of paper mache, so that doesn't help.
Mm-hmm. So you don't want Rodgers?
I do not want Aaron Rodgers.
What do you want?
That would be fun.
What is the ideal Vikings quarterback situation?
I mean, so there's like a lot of different levels. I don't want him to give up draft capital for like a Mac Jones. I'm not interested in anything like that. If they're going to trade, I want it to be for, the highest of high-end things. And these aren't going to happen.
That's
if you're going to trade, like, swing big.
They're definitely going to go replacement level.
Yeah. So then if you're going to do that, like, just go with Kirk Cousins.
I knew you were going to say that.
And live with that as he basically is your backup, or you have to basically decide if you're going to give JJ McCarthy one more year or not.
Now I got a question. Would you consider bringing in Malik Willis, considering how he performed for the Packers?
If it will cost you, Joey's going to want a haul. He's going to want
he's
a free agent.
Joey's not getting anything.
Okay, good.
He's a free agent.
Whew, thank God.
So if the Vikings were set up differently, yes, I would, because I think Malik Willis is a completely fine Like, I think he could be the 18th best quarterback, and with the roster they have assembled, they could win enough games to go to the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be a Super Bowl team unless they go get a high-end quarterback, and they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm not like overshooting the moon here for any of it. They're not built to win with how Malik Willis plays. Kevin O'Connell won't call games that way. So you have to get a quarterback that can throw a football, move downfield with a football, can play in that. You need a veteran quarterback if that's the type of thing you want. That's why I think it makes sense to you have Kirk Cousins, not because you're going to go win the Super Bowl with him, but he is your safety insurance for inevitably when JJ McCarthy stubs his toe or, puts the eye black directly in his eye and blinds himself before the game on Sunday.
And he's familiar with the system.
And that's the other thing. And again, you're not going to set yourself up to win the Super Bowl this year. So if that's the goal, then figure out how you're going to go get Justin Herbert, because he's probably the most available of the top end quarterback. And then you can try to sell, trade McCarthy a first, and maybe you have to give up another big asset. But that's what you're trying to do to go get. If that's the plan, go do that. That's your best chance of winning a Super Bowl. Short of that, everything else is going to come up a little bit. I'm interested in Kyler Murray, but I don't want to overpay for Kyler Murray.
No, you do not.
No.
And I don't even know.
And I don't think it's worth it.
How well that even goes. So
you don't want to overpay for Kyler Murray. You don't want to overpay for Malik Willis.
Right.
So you might as well just go replacement level,
which is Kirk Cousins. And I would feel really good about that.
Now, I guess my curiosity with him is he now below replacement level? You're clearly not getting the Kirk that left Minnesota 2 years ago.
He played okay at the end of last year.
Kind of noodle arm now. And
I don't think arm strength is the issue.
It was interesting. Think that Achilles injury kind of really shifted.
Well, he played better at the end of last year. Part of it is that he didn't have Drake London for a lot of those games at the end of the season, so they weren't really going downfield. The thing to remember, you still have Justin Jefferson. You have Jordan Addison.
Yep.
You would potentially bring back Jalen Naylor. So those three wide receivers put you in a very high category of wide receiver play. They're probably getting rid of TJ Hawkinson. They might draft a tight end. They have weapons that they can utilize. What they need is someone with a brain that can run that offense. JJ McCarthy's brain does not allow him to run that offense.
Kirk Cousins has a brain.
So
I believe that's true.
Again, you're not going to go win a Super Bowl, but could you maximize what you sort of have and then continue to try to stopgap out? The other thing is, or you just play McCarthy and it goes horrible, and then you draft somebody out of this, allegedly amazing draft class.
Natural selection takes over.
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Just allow it to die itself.
If he's going to shipwreck your season,
but don't you want to I
don't want him to waste this much talent. I don't want him to waste Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator.
No, but I think not from a team perspective. Well, from a team perspective, obviously with JJ, you have to pull the plug now so you could get something out of him. And I don't know what you're going to get out of him. But
that's a problem.
If you allow it to die on its own, it's official. You're not getting nothing.
They have to live with the idea that last year they could have traded JJ McCarthy for more than they could get for him now.
Definitely.
They could have kept Sam Darnold. They could have kept Daniel Jones. Either option would have given them a better. If you were going to sign Aaron Rodgers, last year made more sense when he had one less year of mileage on his
I'm just
body.
saying, if you could have sold him for for a profit,
third round pick,
you could have sold him for a profit or something like that last year, or maybe
I don't
slightly
know if you get
less.
a profit because you took him 10th and
90 cents on the dollar.
Right.
This year it'd be a quarter on the dollar. Next year it'd be a penny on the dollar. So
I don't even know if it'd be a quarter on the dollar.
You don't think you can get him for a quarter on the dollar?
I don't think there's people that believe in him because you put the tape on and it's okay, he's not accurate. He can't run a super quarterback friendly offense. Their best plays last year were basically they have to load up 3 tight ends and run the football with Aaron Jones or Jordan Mason, or have their defense set them up for everything. What am I trading for? So that,
it's not great.
He's
Anthony
Richardson, except people might talk themselves into it more because he's a better college quarterback than Richardson was.
Yeah, but Richardson is big and tall. And
Richardson's more athletic, but the athleticism hasn't saved either one of those guys.
No, it most certainly is not.
So just bring back Kirk Cousins.
There you go. That's Schaefer's solution to everything.
Schaefer, really is.
Schaefer in 15 years is going to be where's Kirk Cousins?
I'm going to see if he wants to fill in for some College World Series games.
No, in 15 years, Kirk Cousins is going to be working at a Kohl's Red cash.
You know
register.
where he was at last week?
Where?
He showed up at UCF. Scott Frost brought him in to talk to the team.
Wow.
I watched videos of Kirk Cousins talking to UCF players.
I didn't see that.
I was why didn't you do that at Nebraska? I would have pestered him with a bunch of questions.
You definitely would have.
Yeah. I had a chance. He was at the Team Jack stuff.
That's right. He gave a great speech.
And I was given an opportunity to go to it, and I had some other stuff that I could have moved around. But I was like, he's not. I don't know. I'm not going to do it. Now I regret.
Now you regret it.
I regret not going.
Wow, you feel indebted to Kirk Cousins.
I do a little bit. People won't get it, but they've never been beholden to the horrible quarterback play that I have.
So then there's a bunch of other teams who are mostly bad teams who are in this sort of quarterback conundrum. And then you look around and you say, well, what are the names that are available? Obviously, Cousins is one of them.
Willis.
He actually might have there might be a market for Kirk
Warren
Cousins.
Sharp can make his tweet again about how Kirk Cousins makes all this money without putting into context that all these other quarterbacks don't reach free agency.
There is a market for Kirk Cousins. There's likely to be a market for Mac Jones. There's likely to be a market for Malik Willis, who, like you guys mentioned, is a free agent. Is there a market for anyone else? Like, are we talking about 4 teams for 3 like semi-available quarterbacks? I mean, obviously there's Kyler Murray, who is out there, kind of floating around.
If somebody wants to blow up their cap space. And then they almost so there's a conversation that the Dolphins might just completely tank this season because if they cut Tua, they have to eat so much money that if they do it, but it'd only be for 1 year. So if they just cut him now, they're only really in cap hell for 1 year, and they already think they're going to be bad. So just cut him, eat all of that money, and be terrible. Then go draft Arch Manning.
Honestly, I think it's a great idea.
So that might be what the Dolphins do, and we should ask Jake Sorensen.
I was just going to say maybe Jake would be for this.
Yeah, like, would you take 1 year of just being complete and utter garbage if you get to come on the other side of it with a fresh new quarterback?
I can't remember if Jake is pro or anti-tank.
Well, the Dolphins have done it multiple times in his life.
Yes, they have.
I mean, this is a guy who earnestly said that Ryan Tannehill might be the best quarterback that he'll get to see post Dan Marino in his life. And he wasn't even being sarcastic.
He may still be right.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a no to that at this point. Like, there's not like and I was a Tua guy, but he's just, you have to play in a certain way, and the concussions limit your ability to do anything else.
Now, at the same time, this is the case against Tua. If there was ever an offense for him to be in with their running game and the way that they were able to creatively sort of, get that done with a then healthy and productive Tyreek Hill, like, and all that stuff, it was a good spot for him to be successul.
Yeah.
And it tailed off there at the end, obviously. So, like you said, I mean, I don't know. Is there
the Steelers need somebody?
Do you want to play quarterback match game? Do you want to match?
We can try. I mean, you got something that you want to match up?
You want to match a quarterback with anybody, or do you want to take it from the team perspective of like, what did the Steelers do? Or like, what are the
I think they're the
Browns
team that probably has to like try to go trade for a Mac Jones, because at some point you can't just keep trying to Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett or, they didn't draft Jackson Dart.
One thing I know that the Steelers won't do is they won't make a big splash. Mac Jones is like the splashiest guy that they could get. Probably.
I think that Rodgers ends up back there because I don't know that he's open got a lot of other options, and it seems like the team wants him back.
He's open,
unlike last year where nobody really wanted him.
That's weird.
So I don't know how you look at last year the way that like you make the playoffs. I guess he had that pass at the end of the game where but you make the playoffs on a missed field goal. You get absolutely slaughtered where his last play is like a pick six, and you just want to run this back with Mike McCarthy.
I know. That's why I say it's weird. Yeah.
So
I don't see how it gets better.
Again, there might be an element of, hey, if we just do this, we're going to be bad and we'll draft somebody in 2027.
I don't know why that organization, I mean, speaking of getting Fs on report cards, they get an F from me too. Like, I don't know how you go, like, you fire Mike Tomlin because of, or part ways or whatever they decided to say on that, because basically, in essence, it got stale. It was like, yeah, okay. And I get that, but at least do something different and bring in at least bring in like a young hot shot coach, or
instead of hiring a guy who got fired from Green Bay because it got stale.
They hired other Mike
Tomlin.
Tomlin
From Dallas because it gets stale.
Yeah,
and he also has a offensive coordinator who's got fired from Atlanta with a stale offense.
And so, like,
I don't like Arthur
and
Smith.
So they're going to bring back stale ass Aaron Rodgers.
Smith is now the OC for the Ohio State.
So he's on Ohio State.
Stale, Julian saying, right? So,
oh boy,
Julian saying is stale.
I heard your guys' conversation about this the other day, and I was a little frustrated. I think you guys are undershooting Julian saying.
He's just boring to me. Like I can't.
He was a freshman last year.
Not like a true freshman.
That's true. He was a redshirt freshman.
He doesn't get that much credit.
Okay, all right. He wasn't particularly exciting last year, but I think he's going to be a really good college quarterback.
Yeah,
like a really good college quarterback.
I'm
everything
hoping
about
for
it
it.
feels robotic. I don't know.
It's a little formulaic, I guess. Yeah. He fits in a box.
There might also be like Ohio State offense fatigue for me. And so it could be that as much as it is Julian.
It probably
Which
is.
now Arthur Smith is going to erase that by bringing in a horrible offense.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do there.
I'm sure it'll be fine because it's Ryan Day and it's Ohio State. But Arthur Smith, man.
He's not good.
Tough.
I don't know how he keeps getting these high profile gigs.
Anyway, and then the Steelers are going to be like, yeah, let's have stale coach with stale whatever and stale everything and bring back Aaron Rodgers.
This is like one of the proudest programs in the NFL, and they're getting an F- on this report card. Their coach is going to be Mike McCarthy, and their quarterback could be Aaron Rodgers, like it's Green Bay 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was the Jets in 2022 or 2023.
Yeah, sort of, but
Green
you didn't have
Bay
McCarthy
East.
as part of it.
Here's another
Is
one.
Alan Lazard going to be in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's still in New York at the moment.
I don't think he played last year. Like he was on a roster, but I don't know that he played.
He barely played. I think he was like fourth in the depth chart for receivers. Or he might have got released.
Just one more random team. What do they do at quarterback? The Colts.
They'll bring back Daniel Jones, but they're going to have someone else.
Yes.
Which then
same thing with like the Chiefs. I'm curious about those type of teams. Like if you're not gonna have a quarterback for the first 6-8 weeks of the season, what are you gonna do? Do they take anybody else off the market? Because we're talking about a lot of teams right now who are looking for like replacement level quarterbacks to be their starters. And these guys,
the Chiefs are like, hey, Kirk Cousins, you want to start the first 5 games of the year?
and
then you could just be our emergency backup.
I've been fascinated by what the Chiefs are going to do for the first.
They have and there's this whole idea that Mahomes is going to beat every odd and come back and start the season.
I don't.
I don't believe that. I don't know why you would do that.
That would be stupid.
Just come back in October. Yeah. Miss the first 3 weeks, whatever it is.
Let your team start 0-8, then you guys don't get to the playoffs.
That's what you're trying to not have happen. That's what they're.
I think that's what they want to avoid.
You're right.
I think they want to avoid.
All right, we'll take a break and be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Mustache Adam commented in before. He said, people keep forgetting, or they must keep remembering that time that Bain blew up Heinz Field, and that's why the Steelers keep getting Fs on their field grade. Fair enough.
That is true.
Remember when it all fell into a hole in the earth, like the Omaha sinkhole?
I still don't understand.
Apparently that was on Sports Center,
The sinkhole?
like on their Facebook feed.
Oh.
Like they post.
They do all this crap on their Facebook
Social
stuff.
media.
Don't pay attention to that crap.
impressions.
Garbage.
I still have never understood why Heinz Ward was returning a kick in that scene, by the way. That it just felt like that was an oversight by the people that made the movie. Heinz Ward doesn't return kicks.
That is so funny. Why did you think about that at all?
What else am I supposed to think of in that moment?
I don't know.
It's Heinz Ward. He's
Were
not
you
a kick
thinking like,
returner.
oh, why didn't they get Devin Hester to do this part instead?
Well, no,
Or
because they clearly were using.
the Steelers.
They were not using Soldier Field.
So I got that, but it's like I wouldn't have used it.
Who would they have put back there?
I don't know that you had to do a kick return either. It could have been some other play.
Could have been that kick returner who let the ball lay in the end zone for the Seahawks
the
too.
Iowa running back Caleb Johnson did that earlier.
Should have got Caleb
last year.
Johnson to be in
They
that
should have
movie.
gotten how old would
Dark
Caleb
Knight
Johnson-
Rises.
How old would Caleb Johnson have been for that?
That came out in what?
2012. We determined yesterday.
12?
Yeah.
So he would be
Jeez.
in middle school.
Yikes.
Like 6th grade, Caleb Johnson returning
Yikes.
that kick.
See, that's what Schaefer wanted instead of the inaccuracy of Heinz Ward.
I didn't want
returning
Heinz
kick.
Ward returning kicks. Is that so wrong?
J-Man writes in, Joey, get the gong ready. I can't believe they put Heinz Ward back there in that movie.
He's not a kick returner.
All right, so as we all know, the real college football is not played on the field anymore. It's played in bank accounts. And we got reports from the previous fiscal year, from now the entire conference, fiscal year 2025, which is July 1, 2024 to June 30, 2025. So keep that in mind. So that would encapsulate not this past football season, but the season before that. So Scott Docterman had a pretty good rundown. There's a whole bunch of, sort of recaps on this. But I found this sort of interesting. So this is just in the total revenue athletic department generation game here. Docterman writes, buoyed by 8 home football games and a team that went on to win the national championship, Ohio State generated more than $336 million in the 2025 fiscal year to top the conference's revenue leaderboard, which was $60 million clear of Michigan. And then they were almost $20 million clear of Penn State, who was $41 million clear of Nebraska. So if we're mathing this out here, and they didn't put out a graph or a table here, but if we're doing the math here, Ohio State $336 million, Michigan $276 million, Penn State $255 million, and Nebraska $214 million. Which you could look at it and the headline can be, oh, look, Nebraska got 4th place in the conference in revenue, like national championship, hang the banner. They're one of the big dogs. But they were more than $120 million less than Ohio State earned in fiscal year 2025. In fact, Nebraska is closer to the bottom in revenue in terms of the actual money than they are to the top. Maryland brought in the lowest amount of revenue in the league at a reported $124 million, which that's just a little bit more than $100 million off that as well. So they're slightly closer to the bottom than they are the top, which I think is sort of fascinating, and it sort of underscores the idea that, the Ohio States, the Michigans, and not quite as much the Penn State, but the Ohio State and Michigans of the conference, which are literally just those two, Ohio State and Michigan. There's a gap there in terms of what they bring in.
Yeah, and then it does mention in there, I mean, some of it with Ohio State, they did win the college football playoffs, so there's a little bit.
And they
of
had
a
an extra home
financial-
game.
So
it's not going to be consistent year over year, but Ohio
Right.
State is the revenue winner every single year.
And they will be, and there's other aspects of this too. This isn't just all football revenue. Like this is just
Correct.
total revenue. Ohio State has more sports, which also means they have more expenses, but they have other avenues to generate. Whereas Nebraska has, I think, the least amount of sports by a substantial amount in the Big Ten too. So they keep costs low there. Also won't generate anything in addition to.
And they've been willing to identify some things. And we'll talk about this in a second. Like the volleyball side, I think they took a loss on last year because, I mean, especially compared to the year before, where that fiscal year you were talking about volleyball day in Nebraska.
Yeah, I was going to say that changes.
It changes the numbers. So
that.
there's some funky stuff as far as that's concerned to actually get to the bottom of what was going on. I mean, you guys have, I'm sure, heard plenty about this already, but Doctorman put it in a pretty succinct fashion here. Let's talk about Rutgers for a second. So Doctorman writes, in an interview with The Athletic 3 years ago, former Rutgers athletic director Pat Hobbs said, the Scarlet Knights, quote, view our entry into the Big Ten as getting the golden ticket. I would imagine that's been the case for every single new Big Ten entrant. I mean, starting with Nebraska in 2011. Since joining the Big Ten in July of 2014, Rutgers has tried to spend its way to respectability. The filing suggests the venture has become a money pit. Over its 11 seasons in the conference, Rutgers Athletics has reported more than $190 million in losses. But that just tells part of the story. The department has received $328 million in student fees and direct support from the state of New Jersey and the rest of Rutgers University, taking from something that Nebraska has not done, taking from the school, right? If you take away that income, Rutgers is in a $519 million pit since they have joined the league in 2014. Rutgers athletic director Kelly Zinn told NJ.com last month, quote, you could make the argument that we don't have an expense problem, but we do, in fact, have a revenue problem and a pretty significant one. I would say so.
I mean, I think that's a creative way to try to ignore that you do have an expense problem.
You have both. If you don't have, if you have a revenue problem, you have an expense problem.
Right. So it's kind of like, okay, but you're just, if you acknowledge that you have a revenue problem and you keep spending like you have revenue, then you have an even more extreme expense problem. One of the things that I always want to highlight in this, and this isn't like to sort of pat Nebraska on the back or whatever else. When I see these things and I see the staggering number of $328.4 million in student fees and direct support from the state of New Jersey.
Yep.
And I think about how at Nebraska, there are no subsidized student fees that go to athletics.
$0.
And the university is already clawing for a single dollar from the state from a university standpoint.
I believe the athletic department still gives back into the university. I believe now that might not be the case anymore, but that was the case for a long time. They certainly used to.
I think they still do. It maybe isn't the same amount of money because they need their money for other things. But this is all to say that when people do get their dander up about the sports and college sports, like it's places like Rutgers that are grossly misappropriating funds. And not places like Nebraska that have proven to be very good with money. And that was a big part of Trev Alberts coming in.
Yep.
And, you know, like, again, I didn't read Bill Moose's book. I won't read Bill Moose's book. He spent Washington State into a problem. He may have done it at Nebraska had he been there.
So that was my next thing here as it pertains to Nebraska. They are spending quite a lot. And there's more big picture. We're talking about capital, the stadium project, all these things on the horizon, on top of trying to keep a athletic department competitive in terms of NIL and rev share and all those other things. I keep mentioning this just because I want people to hear it and be prepared for it. I just think you need to prepare for a world in which they do start taking subsidies from the state because of the stadium project, just the stadium project.
It might specifically be for that.
Directly tagged to it. So what I'm saying is when these revenue reports come out year over year, like maybe in a year or in 2 years, that item line is not zero anymore. You know what I mean? So now it's not going to be Rutgers level of
Right. And I wouldn't
spending
look for
here.
it to be a long term,
Right.
this happens every year, but if it helps with the stadium renovation, that could be, one thing. They're just in a
They're
really
spending, they're adding scholarships, they're adding a
Right.
sport, and they obviously feel like the financials are in a good enough position. I've long said this too, you mentioned Moose. There's no doubt that he was a big yes man in terms of, things.
Big
that they
idea
wanted to-
man.
Big idea man, as we've said before. I think Dannon is somewhere in between Moose and Alberts. Like Trev was very, he was pretty frugal.
Frugal is the word that came to mind.
That sounds
worse than
sort
you
of-
intended to.
Yes, because
I know what you mean.
I think he ran a good show, but he also inherited a show that was bloated.
Sure.
And
he also angered people because he called them to the carpet on, hey, you don't need an expense for this.
What do you?
Hey, we don't
here?
need this guy on retainer.
Exactly.
Hey, they don't do anything for your overall program, so we're not paying them $30,000.
But I do think Dannon. He's got a lot of people on staff right now, or retainer, that are looking into the stadium project and are they're working on it right now. And there's no doubt that Dannon is fine with spending money, which I think is fine to a point.
Well,
but I know it's a sticking point around here because people don't there is this lack of acceptance of having big, cool, and flashy things to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on athletics, especially in a climate where the university is at this huge budget shortfall and stuff like that.
Well,
that's the crap.
At a budget shortfall.
That's
the other part.
That's the stuff that Rule is talking about when he's talking about optics.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing. Was it 7-8 years ago, right before you're about to get waxed by Ohio State, you have Scott Frost and Wandale Robinson introduce the breaking of ground for this, outstanding players facility. And again, it's $155 million or whatever it was. It's not like it's the most expensive thing that's ever going to be built, but people see that. And since that's been built, Nebraska has a trip to New York City for a bowl game and a trip to, I don't even remember where they played this past year. Las Vegas.
I believe it was in Las Vegas.
Bowl.
Yes.
So some of it is just like, okay, like investing in this program is what you have to do. They need a new stadium, but it's hard to get excited about it when the team doesn't perform at the level that it needs to.
Yep.
So there's that aspect. There's also this. Football isn't the only stadium that's probably being weighed over there. They have a very real decision they have to make with baseball.
Agreed.
Because the way that it stands, just sort of speaking out loud with maybe more guesstimation than direct knowledge, I can't imagine that Will Bolt and that group loves their situation over there. I think there's some real sticking points with.
I don't think they've been happy in a long time.
Yeah, with sort of what they get to do, how it operates with that stadium that's shared with the city, that's owned by, that partially owned by the city, partially directly owned by the family that owns the Salt Dogs.
Salt Dogs, yeah.
To the Ables? I can't remember.
I can never remember the.
I can't remember who owns, so I apologize for that.
But they have, I remember specifically when, they had that great season in 21 and they lost Arkansas in the regional final. They went down there and were pretty blown away by, and obviously who wouldn't be by what Arkansas has.
Right.
And at that point, their whole indoor wasn't even done yet. They were just talking about the stadium.
Right.
And they had all these great ideas and things that they wanted to do and implement, and they thought they could. And they were
told no on everything.
They were just stonewalled on every single thing.
They wanted to renovate the locker room.
Even as simple things as doing things for fan activations on the concourse, crap like that.
Yeah.
I agree with you completely.
So and then you have all that land just sitting there in Innovation Campus that would not be surprised. I don't know how soon, but in the future that Nebraska has a, on Innovation Campus baseball facility and baseball stadium. I think the days of Haymarket Park, it's not a matter of if, it's more of a matter of when.
Well, unless they're able to buy it.
Well, and that's been a conversation too, but I don't know that that's what they want to do either. So
it needs a lot of it needs a lot of upgrades. It's starting to wear.
it is. You can feel the sag in it. It's the press box is too small for the coverage that it gets.
Mhm.
The amenities of that place
It has
feel
a big
dated.
It has a big pole in the middle of it.
Sometimes I've been sat directly behind.
Sometimes
that
you
pole.
get sit right behind the pole.
You're just doing one of these.
It's more of a pillar than a pole.
It is more of a pillar. Yeah. Pole would imply it's circular.
Could
Call
they-
it a column? Do we call it a column?
Dude, I do 1 or 2 baseball games there a year, and I'm always amazed that they have cubicle walls splitting the radio booths. Now I know I like it's frankly shocking to me.
Yeah.
Like, just put a wall up. But it's not Nebraska's choice. It's
It is
not
not.
Giancarlo's fault. We'll be back with the headlines after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, nearly 8 o'clock. Happy Friday. Happer and Schaefer rolls on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. A couple things on the website going on. In fact, seven concerts that you have the ability to win tickets to, including Journey, Joe Coy, George Thorogood and the Destroyers with Marshall Tucker Band, Yachtly Crew, the Black Keys, Young the Giant, and Chris Stapleton, all coming up within the next several months here. As far as the show dates are concerned, and your opportunities to win tickets to them all exist on our beautiful, beautiful website. If you're not on 1620thezone.com right now, I feel bad for you, honestly.
You're missing out.
I don't know what's wrong with you. So head over there to 1620thezone.com. All right, Joey, what do we got? Headlines.
Okay, the first headline out across the pond. So 2 British men arrested in Benidorm for staging fake kidnapping to extort £725 ransom. I'm guessing that's pound.
Okay, but that's one headline. Let's hear the next one.
The second one, this is thanks to Stacy for sending this to Happer and Schaefer Twitter. This is an update from a story I read earlier in the week about a mom of 3 found alive 24 years after disappearance. Is arrested on a 2001 DWI warrant.
So I don't know that there's really anything more to that story, though.
I know.
So I
appreciate
Joey,
the follow-up.
Did you read the follow-up? Like, is there more to this? Like, do we learn more about this woman? Why she completely skipped out on her family?
Yeah, I'm reading it. There's there's a little bit of something in there.
We'll ask for the more details of a story that we.
I agree. Just because the other one, I mean, sadly it's a story that we've heard many times. Fake kidnapping, extortion, that entire deal. Not exactly the rosiest of topics either. All right, what do we got?
Now the abandonment of family and DWI is rosy either.
Yeah, but at least we could.
So which one are we doing?
Yeah, you're right.
So which one are you?
The second one.
Follow up, because we had I feel like because we had the first story and we were left with questions, and I'm trusting that there's some more in here. We'll find out more. Wonderful.
So, in case you did not hear about this, a North Carolina woman who resurfaced 24 years after she was reported missing now has been arrested for an outstanding driving while impaired charge dating back to 2001. Michelle Hunley Smith was taken into custody in Robeson County on an outstanding failure to appear warrant tied to the November 2001 DWI charge, according to a Rockingham County Sheriff's Office press release. Court records show Smith was cited for driving while impaired on November 11, 2001, and failed to appear in court on December 27, 2001, which is around the time she was reported missing at that time.
So, and that's why now they're getting her on this. This is crazy.
So she was arrested on Wednesday, February 25th, and posted bond on the same day. She is scheduled to appear at the Rockingham County District Court on March 26th. So people previously, this is from People, by the way, but they previously reported that Smith was 38 years old when she disappeared on December 9th, 2001, after she left her Rockingham County, North Carolina home to go Christmas shopping in Martinsville, Virginia, and never returned. Her husband told authorities at that time that she did not come back. Earlier this month, detectives made contact with her at an undisclosed location in North Carolina after receiving the new information in the decades-old case. Authorities said she was located face-to-face on February 20th and was alive and doing well. So Smith is a mother of 3. She told investigators she left in 2001 due to ongoing domestic issues, as People previously reported. Authorities said there was no prior domestic reports on file and no evidence of foul play. Rockingham County District Attorney Katie Gregg said there was not enough evidence to pursue criminal charges related to Smith's disappearance, such as
now
abandonment.
There is. They got her on the old 25-year-old DWI.
And that charge remained active over the years. Local, state, and federal agencies, including North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation and the FBI, assisted in the investigation per the outlet. So overall, People previously reported that Smith's daughter expressed mixed emotions after learning her mother was alive, writing on social media that she felt ecstatic, not happy, heartbroken, and all over the map.
I just don't know how nobody saw her for 25 years.
It's
or
not
like
like she went that far away.
Yeah.
Like there's still a lot in this like that I don't understand.
I
She
agree.
didn't assume a new identity, but they couldn't find her.
Right. And now all of a sudden they came up with a reason to find her and they immediately found her.
And then
Yeah.
the FBI was involved
Like,
and they couldn't find her.
It almost feels like the people who she left, her family, like really didn't care. We're probably
this is what I mean. There's a lot
at
into
a certain point they were just like, all right, I guess she just dipped. Like, nothing I could do. I don't really like her anyway.
Maybe there is not anything that you can do, I suppose, but it's still all of it is odd. Like, how could she exist in a community nearby without ever leaving any sort of trail that she exists that allegedly the investigators and the FBI were duped by for 20 plus years if they put in actual effort in trying to find her?
And they can't obviously they can't charge that, and they're not charging her for running away. And she didn't it doesn't appear as if she faked her own death. She just left where she was and nobody cared to find her until not so randomly 25 years later, as we're talking about this, they're like, oh yeah, remember you got that DWI that you didn't show up to court for in 2001?
Made sense to why she disappeared, because that was right before when the whole thing happened.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's what she was running from in the first place. I don't know.
I just don't understand how she was not found for that long of time.
Doesn't really make any sense to me. All right, there we go. Well, at least we can wrap that story up.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah. All right, those are Joey's headlines. We'll come back. 8:00 hour is coming up. We have plenty to discuss as we get you ready for the weekend on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. It looks like we've just received a tweet from Matt McMaster. He tweeted at Josh Hodson and Mike Schaefer. He says, just so everyone knows, when my mother picked me up from the airport after not seeing her for 3 months, the first thing she said was, quote, how the hell do you know so little about Sean Penn?
That was a great part of Women Throughout the Ages, or whatever that's called.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, so apparently Odson was having a tough time explaining Sean Penn.
It's a tough thing to explain, Sean Penn.
I mean, popular actor / philanthropist / crazy person. I mean, he's in like no shortage of movies.
I know who Sean Penn is, and I understand what you're trying to say, but like actually doing the task of explaining how he's been viewed and and all the different things he's been in and all those, like that's sort of a tough thing to explain.
Fair enough.
It's not just like, oh, he's Leonardo DiCaprio, he's a famous movie star. How do you not know who it is?
Well, I mean,
it is conceivable that a person of his age wouldn't have the greatest knowledge of.
I totally get Matt not knowing Sean Penn, though. He likes to do the quote from Sean Penn's quote from the movie that just one battle after another.
Oh, he does?
Well, he was doing it the other day. Well, you guys were both doing it during the break.
Oh, wow. He saw that movie?
You like him? I love him. He was doing it the other day. And so then it's like, well, you could just tell him he's that guy and then go from there. But no, he was it was another informative. He was really stuck on not knowing who Carson Daly was, as other than the guy who hosts The Voice. And then Josh was like trying to explain what TRL was when that wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And then they had a conversation about like pre-Derek Jeter, Carson Daly had his own sort of incredible lineup of women that he dated throughout time. And then Matt couldn't believe this and was calling Carson Daly a schlub.
Yeah.
That was probably the highlight of that. And then there's, of course, he went through he learned about women through the ages, as one does in that segment. But his disdain for Carson Daly was kind of funny to me.
Well, I think we all had some of that. We're like, what? This guy? He's,
I would describe him as the Ryan Seacrest before Ryan Seacrest was ever a thing.
He was definitely very, very cool. And so I don't want to shortchange him on that. But
I don't even know if he was cool. He was just a guy in that situation at that time.
Yeah. But it would be hard for people to convince a younger person now of like, oh yeah, no, you don't really know how big that guy was. It's a pretty big deal.
Some of it is, it's probably hard to explain to someone that didn't live through it just how important MTV was for like a 20-year stretch.
Yep.
And then how immediately unimportant MTV became.
Pretty instantly.
Yeah. It's like, that would be a great thing an audiobook or something to listen to, is like how quickly MTV just sort of fell off the cliff from where it stood in the cultural zeitgeist.
You could have your boy Klosterman write it.
He probably did a degree in the 90s.
I mean,
the depth of
that I definitely read.
When's the last time you watched a music video?
That's a good question. Occasionally I'll pull it up on YouTube just to see if it has one.
Oh, like a current song, if they still have a okay.
And it's kind of hit or miss. They do these like lyric videos now where like they clearly have like I'm talking about for like really popular songs. They clearly have like a set and a design and a theme and all that stuff. Like it looks like it would be a music video, but then they do like 2 different shots, and it's like we were getting to the point where the music videos were like full-length feature films.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it took a lot to do. We were getting like big time famous actors to do them.
I think that's part of what the downfall was.
I know.
It sort of had like this weird emphasis that but then people weren't caring, because why would you care about a music video
when you could just listen on your iPod?
I will
music
occasionally,
videos don't happen on iPods.
Like I'll go through and pull up old videos because I like I kind of want to remember if I remember them correctly. Like I'll pull up Hooba Stanks, The Reason.
Oh, yeah.
Be like, did they do a music video of a bank robbery while singing this love song?
Uh-huh.
And they did.
And they did.
And it's actually kind of like there was a nice run.
Was Vanessa Carlson really moving that piano? Was she really driving that piano downtown? Yes, she was.
So I mean,
she's making her way.
There was like a nice run of nonsensical music videos in the 90s and early 2000s that would feature like extreme close-ups of the lead singer doing the sort of like singing face thing that gets made fun of now because that was the era of which it was like really big.
Yep.
And then it would cut to just a nonsensical story. I mean, I would watch VH1 Jumpstart every day in the morning for like a 3-year stretch before going to high school.
It was for me. It was just a thing that was on in the background. Like I loved just like if I wasn't watching TV, it was just on. Yeah,
and you sort of pay attention to the music video, but I wasn't like locked into it.
Correct.
I certainly would never have like sat down and reviewed music videos or anything.
No,
in the way that I consume other content, but it was just like you said, it was a thing that you sort of knew and had. But MTV's cachet of like they made stars for a while, and then of course you have
now they make ridiculousness,
which might be the only thing that they.
There was some story recently. Yeah, there was some story recently about how they stopped producing them finally.
Ridiculous. Yeah, I can't even say it.
Ridiculousness
is dead.
I think I believe so.
The only time I ever see that show is when I would go to the barber shop in Lincoln, and that would be. They have like 4 TVs, and they'd have one TV that's only showing that at all times.
Well, if you go to the TV guide right now, take a look, Schaefer. What do you see up there?
A lot of ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Might as well throw it on
all the way until 1:30 when The Big Bang Theory comes on MTV.
Yeah, I mean, so they're part of the when CBS and Viacom merged, those companies came together. And so then they all ended up with Paramount. So they're under the Paramount umbrella.
So they basically play like 4 things on this channel all day. And then at night, they play a couple movies. They play the Friday
and next Friday. And oh, wow. You could do the full Friday marathon
all the way if you want to watch until 4:00.
Have you watched all 3 of those
tomorrow
movies?
Morning? No, I think I've only seen Friday.
I don't know that you need to see the other 2.
I'm not. I was
Friday
never
after
particularly
next
interested.
is certainly not something you would need.
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Yeah, so they're canceling. They canceled Ridiculousness after 46 seasons.
46
seasons since
Seasons
2011.
Used to have a meaning of like it'd be a year.
Season should be year by year, not.
Well,
now it's like quarterly.
Yeah, yeah. How many thousands of episodes are we talking about here? I mean, it's got to be in the thousands.
I can take a look,
right? I mean, and they did the same thing every time.
The guy's name is Rob.
Rob Dyrdek.
Yeah.
I mean,
over 1,700 episodes.
1,700 episodes.
I don't think I've ever watched that show where sound has been on.
Basically, the idea was like they lived inside of a skate park, or like they built
like a facility,
an
indoor facility.
They built a warehouse, and then they had another spinoff of that, and it was called like Fantasy Factory or something like that. And it was basically the same show as the Ridiculousness.
So if you did the math, it's like 100
and reacting to them.
So if you did the math, it's like 121 episodes per year for that show.
Yeah, that's
well, I mean, they could do.
That's a lot.
They could probably do like 6 episodes a day because they don't take time. Like
sweet.
You just have to have access to
15 minutes
video.
of content.
Yeah.
Great. Agent Joe writes in. He says, "Shout out to the popularization of the fisheye lens in its peak TRL era." Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Were you a big MTV? Like, did you watch any of their created content?
Their original programming? No, I just watched the music videos. And once we started getting into the MTV original content stuff, like wasn't it like Pimp Your Ride? Like I guess I watched a little bit of Pimp Your Ride.
There was like Room Raiders. There was I
definitely watched
the Hills and those shows, Laguna Beach, like they were the originators of that.
I could never tell the difference between MTV and VH1. I didn't know what I was watching at once, at whatever time. So it's possible that some of the shows that I watched were on VH1 or MTV. I don't know.
There was like an animated show on MTV that I liked that was about historical figures that all went to the same high school.
Oh,
so it'd be like JFK was in high school with Gandhi, was in high school with Lincoln and Cleopatra and Joan of Arc.
Weird.
And it was a very bizarre show. It might have been me and 6 other people that watched that show. I guarantee Stibbs watched that show. It's a very Stibbs show.
Stibbs, where are you at?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to a couple texts here and some feedback that we've gotten throughout the show this morning. Here's a text from the 202. Now, Schaefer, I don't know if you know about this. I don't know really what this is. I haven't heard anything about this. But this is from the 202. Have you guys talked about the security problem at PBA they had for the Sleepy Maryland game, and how could that affect the Iowa Senior Night game? Lots of students are mad about how they are handling it. What is he talking about?
Oh, I have no idea. There was a not many students at the game, so maybe they were being turned away because they couldn't admit them with their pass or something.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I haven't heard. I usually am pretty in tune with what the people are talking about on social media. Now, I guess Wednesday in particular, I was not really plugged into what Nebraska was doing, but I don't. I'm not aware of any sort of security issues or people being mad really at anything at all. So I apologize. Schaefer, you were there. And,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't have any issues just going into the game, so I didn't run into any security issues. There was weirdly like no students behind the basket, which I thought was odd on a Wednesday. Like even with Maryland not being a great opponent, you're still getting that halfway up. So I wonder if there was some sort of inability, something happened with the student line or whatever that was, but I don't know. I don't know what directly that's referencing.
Okay. All right. So that's I apologize. There's a piece of feedback there that we could not help you on in that regard. Then we got a text from before. What was the one that had Oh yeah. No, we got some emails. By the way, talking about Rutgers from earlier. John writes in the Equitable Bank inbox. He says, I constantly get 0 interest credit card balance transfer promo offers. Maybe Rutgers should look into one of those for their $500+ million of debt. Also, from earlier, we were talking about NFL quarterbacks. Chris said it's unfortunate that the Vikings franchise can't figure out how to get a Super Bowl winning quarterback like Sam Darnold on their roster.
It is unfortunate that they could not find their own Sam Darnold.
It's hilarious, though. I enjoy it.
Of course,
I don't know if I would call it hilarious, Joey.
Because they have a solid team, a great franchise. It's just one thing they have a problem with is
winning the Super Bowl.
Well, it's finding a consistent quarterback, or they had one, they just mismanaged.
Not everybody is born into a era of which Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers just delivered endless.
Yeah, Joey, you ever think maybe you just have it good?
Play. You could be entering your own era of subpar to average.
It could happen at any moment.
We did not do good with what we have. Because we're not a great franchise. We don't make the moves that other franchises do.
No, the Packers are a pretty good franchise. We're giving them a lot of credit here for the
they've had 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
But they did not get a lot out of it. They were expected to get a lot out of it, but they didn't.
But what if you didn't have that?
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
What if you're the Bears or the Lions?
What if
they might be the
nice backbone of having a steady, consistent quarterback one day just poof vanishes? Then what, Joey?
They might be the Upper Peninsula Packers.
They
might go move to Hammond, Indiana.
I don't think they're moving out of Green Bay. All right, we'll take a break here. We'll come back and still have plenty more to come, included to the basketball for this upcoming weekend. I want to get into some rule changes that I saw floating around for college football.
McMaster has filled in details on what happened.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, since we were just talking about it.
Apparently, just the in-arena security has cracked way down on the student section. They're threatening to kick people out for things that they were saying. There's some tweets that this is one of the tweets. The PBA security guard behind the Maryland bench has her life savings on Maryland plus 17.5. This is unbelievable. Gave the entire section warnings 30 seconds into the game and said she'd kick anyone out if they said anything towards the bench.
Okay.
So I guess it's just there's not much tolerance for
angry students.
Yeah, I'm assuming
that's weird. Like, why?
I'm assuming it's because of the bottle incident from the Purdue game, but that feels like it swings wildly in the wrong direction. I'll say this much. There's going to be many things directed to the Iowa bench. So the PBA security better be
What
ready
if they
for
kick
that.
them all out? What if they
Well,
say, we're going to kick you all out?
That would be the most Nebraska thing possible.
If you even yell at all, if you say
Someone with a
anything,
modicum of power over indulging on their ability to do something in that setting, I wouldn't believe it.
I mean, if I don't know whose direction that's at.
Yeah, I don't know.
That would be if
The arenas?
if that was coming from Nebraska in any way of like, hey, you got to calm these guys down, then like, I don't know, man. I'd say take it a little bit easier there. Pump the brakes a bit.
Security won't let you say the word suck.
Okay.
And we made a horrible Maryland team look pretty good.
Okay, that's
You can't yell at the refs.
I don't like these are just tweets. I can't tell you that this is 100% what happened, but these are from student tweets.
That's bad.
Doesn't seem great.
That's bad. I don't know whose direction that is, but my God. I mean, come on. Give me a break. This is college basketball. And I get it. You know, you recently had somebody from that direction throw something onto the court. Like, I get it, but it's
not like you
let's
had
go
someone
ahead.
try to set off a pacemaker of a coach after a win.
Right. Haven't had that one yet.
Yeah, that one hasn't happened here.
Are you calling the Iowa guy intentional pacemaker
No,
disruptor?
I'm calling the Iowa security people morons for letting him walk into the coaching line. Like, that's bad. That was preventable.
They snuck it at the side of the table, which you should not be allowed.
The security
to do.
guy watched him walk right by him.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it on the video.
Yeah, you shouldn't be allowed to be in that area.
After Hoiberg reacted.
You should not be allowed to be in that area at
Right.
all, like point blank. Period. And that, I mean, to the credit of Nebraska, I suppose. I mean, their student section is right behind the scorer's table.
Yeah.
And so like they have to be really careful with who goes where and who does what at whatever time. But come on. Saying boo, saying suck at a college basketball game.
I'm just with the Iowa game coming up on senior night. This should not be the case.
I did see the still shot of the television broadcast where the guy was flipping off. That was pretty funny from the other night. But this is college basketball, man. Give me a break.
I agree.
Could you imagine the things that they're saying at Providence? Those people are disgusting and mean. So
New England is mean.
Those people
over
are
here.
absolute.
No. They're good New England stock.
Those people
They're
are
nice.
Barbarians. If they had something like that at the dunk, everyone would be removed immediately and sent to jail. Immediately.
Wow.
This is ridiculous.
Look, maybe the dunk needs some PBA security. Maybe Nebraska.
No, they don't. What's I'm saying? No.
They can trade their rogue security person for the student section and get the dunk security person for the Iowa
There
game.
would be a bunch of Providence people in jail. That would be the problem. And
we don't want that.
And Nebraskans
You don't want an overcrowding problem.
Nebraskans would try
Island.
to boo one referee, and the security guards would be like, "What? What am I supposed to be doing here? Where's my donut?
Where's my donut?"
All right, back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Jason writes in on Twitter at Connor Happer at Mike J. Schaefer. If suck is a problem, I've got bad news for the staff next weekend. That's what I'm saying, man. I think you just got to challenge him. What are you going to do? Kick us all out? Put us all in jail?
They might. Like I could
you imagine the scene if Nebraska is playing Iowa and, like they're out for blood, they're out for revenge, and a student in the back is like, you suck, and they're like, you're done. The next time someone says suck, everyone's gone.
Evan Burrows, you suck!
And then that happens, and then they're like, all right, come on down. Come on, here we go. Well, I would just be like, no, I'm not. You're not. You're going to have to remove me personally from the student section. I'm not leaving. This is stupid. I can't believe this. I can't believe I'm just finding out about this now. I'm worked myself into a shoot about it. I'm angry about it. What? You can't say suck at a basketball game? Is this true?
And so when people say security guards, I assume they're talking about like the yellow shirts or the fan hose.
They have those people. I don't think they care. I would imagine like they hire outside security to stand right there in front of the student section. Like they're like bigger dudes with black shirts that say security on it.
But they don't have any actual enforcement.
No, I mean,
they can't physically remove someone from the game unless they present an actual threat.
That's what I'm saying. I just don't go. If they tell me that I have to leave, I just say no. Arrest me.
So is the official stance of the Happer and Schaefer show to not listen to the security?
I mean,
at Pinnacle Bank Arena?
If you're not being encouraged to be...
I can't believe this has even happened.
I can't either. It doesn't make any sense to me. John writes in on the text line. He says, if John Bishop was the Nebraska radio guy, PBA security would have to kick him out. That's true. What do they do with Kent Pavelka? He's yelling and gesturing all over the place.
Lucky for John, Creighton already played at Nebraska, so
that's true.
It won't be for another 2 years.
It was
I think
not
John
a particularly exciting
day
for John that day.
And I think Kent would be okay because they're on the other side of the court, right?
Yes,
they wouldn't be by the bench.
That is correct.
Well, good thing for John is he brings Taylor with him, so it's one of those rare occasions that he has a analyst with him on a road game.
What, for protection? In case they try to arrest him,
in case they eject John Bishop, then Taylor's going to take over.
We need to contact Frank Caliendo and have him do a John Bishop is being arrested while on air, yelling about the officials. They're trying to arrest me.
And another assumptive call. This time, one-eyed Pat Driscoll used his bad eye on that one.
I enjoy it so much.
John also follows up. He says, what is going to happen this fall if you can't say suck in Memorial Stadium? Have you seen the way that team plays?
Yeah, I don't.
How are they going to find?
I don't know that one's going to make it to Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, especially with 90,000 people.
Tough to enforce, I would say.
I would say so.
Difficult to enforce. You would think it'd be difficult to enforce at a college basketball game, but
you would think that no one would be trying to enforce it at a college basketball game.
Yes, you would. You would indeed think that.
There's certain things that would be out of line from a verbal perspective. Suck would not be one of them.
Agreed.
So, this is not me saying say whatever you want.
Teams suck.
They do.
We're team suck. I'm all in. That's great. So a couple things last night. You can look at the week I guess just the week overall here in Big Ten land as far as basketball is concerned. Nebraska, and this is the first time that I've done this all year. Admittedly, I haven't been quite as much into the conference tournament seeding things, partly because Creighton's is relatively simple, and we'll explain that in a little bit. But I pulled open my favorite conference tournament seeding simulator. Have you seen? You're already on it. I bookmarked this 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and it's one of my favorite bookmarks that I have.
In a group chat with friends, it's come up a lot.
The bball.nothing.net.
I had a very good friend of mine that was arguing all the way through the end of yesterday's result against Purdue and Michigan State that it would have been better for Nebraska to have Purdue win that game, and no one was agreeing with them. And I still don't understand where he's coming from.
I don't know what.
So if he's listening to this, you can call in and explain yourself.
Okay. So Purdue finishes with Ohio State, Northwestern, and Wisconsin. Michigan State, who is now 15-5 in the league compared to Purdue's 14-6, finishes with Indiana, Rutgers, and Michigan. Either way, you're looking at a log jam right now in the number 2 spot. Illinois, 13-4. Michigan State, 13-4. Nebraska, 13-4. And Purdue at 12-5 at this moment. Of course, Nebraska finishes with 3 games, USC, UCLA, and Iowa. They hold the tiebreaker over Michigan State. They hope that they I guess I don't know what it would come down to if you were in a tie with Illinois. Would it be like a net ranking situation? I'm not sure how they do the next version of that.
Yeah.
Head-to-head against common opponents. I'm not sure. But our bball.nothing.net simulator has indeed all of the answers. So let's just play it out. Nebraska wins out. Let's just say Nebraska wins out. And let's make Illinois I suppose it's likely that they lose to Michigan tonight. But
that's what I'm assuming.
Let's just say they beat Michigan, and they win out as well. They finish with Michigan, Oregon, and Maryland. They'll almost certainly win their final 2 games. So if both teams win out, that would make Illinois the 2, both of them at 16-4. So they would be above Nebraska based on winning percentage against Michigan, which they would have beat. So this will, if they do win tonight, that would put them above in both of those categories, obviously. If they do not, and everything else sort of remains the same, Michigan State would finish at 15-5, Illinois would finish at 15-5, Purdue would finish at 15-5, Nebraska would be at 16-4, which would make them the 2 seed in the Big Ten basketball tournament, which would give them the super mega bye. Now they're going to get the super mega bye almost no matter what at this point.
I mean, as long as they win at least 2 of their final 3. So I did the scenario where if Nebraska loses, the rest of the teams win out, and you have all of them at 15-5. Essentially, Michigan State would be number 2 because they have the best round robin play amongst the 3 teams. Nebraska is number 3 because they have the next best at 2-2, which ties Illinois. But Nebraska's win against Wisconsin would be the deciding factor for them being seeded over Illinois. And Illinois' win against Purdue would be the deciding factor for them being seeded over Purdue.
Okay.
Purdue would be the 5, Illinois would be the 4.
So that's how it works in practice. Like our friend from Husker Hoops Central, he says if multiple teams are tied, then it is a round robin record. If you go to another tie, it's whoever has the bet who has a win against the best team.
So
that's so stupid.
Basically, like if Nebraska,
I mean, the tiebreakers are all dumb for every conference anyway, but there's ways where you could make it easier on yourself. Most notably, not having 18 teams in the damn conference.
I mean, if you just wanted to eliminate Rutgers and Maryland and watch them just completely drift off into the financial debt of crushing.
I declare bankruptcy.
Yeah,
just
what it would be.
Remove them from the conference.
So if Nebraska wins 2 out of their final 3, they are going to have a super mega bye. Is that
super mega bye?
A super mega bye. If they go 3-0, they'll be the 2 seed.
In actuality, it's a triple bye, but I'm calling it a super mega bye.
So I mean, effectively, go 66%. You're in a great spot there. The bigger thing to me, and so I'm kind of the mindset, sort of as you said, it would be hard for them not to appear in this if they're not winning, if they're winning games. So right there, root for them to win. Things take care of themselves. If Nebraska wants to stay as one of the higher 3 seeds or get into a 2 seed, they still need quite a few things to kind of happen.
You're talking about for the big dance.
For the big dance.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where it would be. Wisconsin beating Purdue in the last game of the year would be helpful, bumping Purdue off of. They're currently a 2 seed. I don't think the loss to Michigan State moves them down any, but it at least introduces the idea if they lose one of their last 3 and then they play. I mean, Purdue plays. What do we got here?
I still
They
think
play Ohio State. They play Wisconsin to finish, and in between they have Northwestern. I think is
that is correct. Ohio State, Northwestern, Wisconsin.
yeah. So I
And
mean,
who-
there's a chance they could
who
lose to
knows?
either Ohio State or Wisconsin.
I don't know what we're getting from Wisconsin on a game by game basis.
Right.
now.
So I just think you can't assume any of these teams will go 3-0 to finish. I don't think that it's fair to assume that any of them will go, like 0-3. So then you're somewhere in the middle of who does 2-1, who does, whatever.
The other thing, I think for the Big Ten tournament, the team that you obviously want to be on the other side of in the bracket, like the soonest you could see them would be the championship game, would be Michigan.
Yeah,
obviously.
you want to be in the 2-3 line.
Other than that, it's just fair game. It's wide open for everybody. Like I wouldn't think too much about the teams that could run into you, like who are behind you from a seeding perspective as far as the Big Ten tournament is concerned. And once again, this is all
Unless
sort
you're
of,
the 4, because then you're playing the 5, the team that gets left out. But
right.
like if you're Nebraska and you're the 4 and Purdue's the 5, if that's the way it works out, you probably need that game anyways to just kind of be like, okay, we have another shot at this.
Yeah, there's, so obviously you want to be as high as you could possibly get. I mean, there's a whole big jumble in the middle of the conference as well. But chances are, I mean, so I'm thinking right now, the way I look at it, I'm going to say that Nebraska is going to end up as the 2 seed in the Big Ten basketball tournament, and they're going to end up as a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. That's sort of my baseline. I think that's where they're going to be at. Anything different than those two things, I'd be mildly surprised at this point. With the knowledge and the acceptance of like, oh, if they lose, 1, then they're probably looking at a different seed for the Big Ten tournament at least, which ultimately doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't really matter that much.
I think the bigger thing that you're aspiring for out of this, beyond just, having your best season imaginable, is if you can get a better slot or try to get above, Purdue, because they have a spot in St. Louis right now, or you want Kansas to lose to Arizona to keep helping your chances of having that Oklahoma City spot potentially. That's kind of what you're sort of hoping for if you're wanting anything extra out of this. Otherwise, it's just go play the best basketball that you can and go from there. I mean, that's really all that you can truly desire here.
Nebraska heads to USC for a game tomorrow. I think the game starts at 3:00, and then an extended weekend out at UCLA as well. I'm excited to watch 100-year-old Chad Baker-Mazara yet again for USC, who has now played at, I believe, 100 different schools. And he had missed a few games back in the middle of in the middle portion of the month here, but he is back. Chad Baker-Mazara, I can't believe it. He's still in college basketball. Duquesne, San Diego State, 2 years at Auburn, and USC to finish out his career for Chad Baker-Mazara. Awesome. Experience wins, right?
We love experience. More eligibility for all.
So stupid. What are we doing? And then, by the way, I always, anytime someone talks about it, I heard somebody talk about it yesterday. They're like these, because we're getting into the time of the year where the senior days are coming up and stuff like that. There's always someone who's there to remind me, because I forget about it every time. Oh yeah, they could do the 5 for 5 thing, and every senior is going to be eligible again next year. It's like, oh my God. Actually, please do not do that. As good as it would be for a lot of teams around the country, and probably your team and my team and every team, that would just be a disaster.
Yeah.
It would be such a mess if they allowed.
I think that's one of those things that if
years.
you do it, you set it for the year forward, not for the year that just was. Does that make sense?
So, well, how would that look in practice?
So, okay, if they
you get an
agree
extra
to this,
year added, but only if you're a junior or under.
So basically, if they come to this agreement in the summer, because that's sort of where the discussion would be, like it wouldn't be retroactively applied to players that had just finished their senior year. It'd be for the upcoming season, not the one that had just happened.
But you're still talking about for active players, right? So what if you had just finished your third season? Mm-hmm. Would you be allowed 2 more seasons then?
Yeah,
or are you just talking about
I'm saying, like,
new players that enter the college basketball sphere.
I don't hate that idea actually, but then I think
That might be the best
I think
thing
you'd have a tough time getting that through a court system, you know.
because every other player would be like,
if
"Hey,
there's-
what the hell?"
If there's a way that you can apply it, like let's say the decision gets made in July and then it can be
I see what
applied
you're
for
saying.
the
Yeah.
26-27 school year, that is, I think, how you would be able to do
I
it,
see what you're saying.
you know, because otherwise, like just thinking about Nebraska, like Jamarcus Lawrence would get an extra year. I don't think Sam Hoiberg would get an
I
extra
believe he
year.
was a redshirt guy.
Yeah.
Let me check on
I
that.
think
real
he's
quick.
on his 5th year as it is. So, you know, those would be the people affected in that regard. But effectively, you could have Price for 2 more years.
Sam. Well, you know what?
I don't think Sanford redshirted, did he?
No, I'm talking about. I said I was talking about Sam.
No, I'm pretty sure Sam Hoiberg redshirted.
You're pretty sure he did. Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
'Cause I
Okay.
think when he sort of was
So
inserted in
You would get
February of,
no extra year for Sam Hoiberg. Sadly,
who I you know, if there's an interesting sort of award thing here, it's whether he could end up winning the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know that he will, but his name is at least in that conversation.
I don't see why not.
I can see if it ends up going to, you know, Braden Smith or to Bennett Sturts or to whomever else.
Defensive Player of the Year for those guys? Hell no.
They're
God,
involved.
no, that would
But
be stupid.
They're on the
Oh.
list for like the national defensive players stuff. Like who's the CJ Carr with Michigan State, where he hasn't even had a good season and he's on this stuff.
Yeah.
Hoiberg didn't even get listed for that.
Huh. I mean, I don't think about. I mean, I'm sure that I mean, they're fine defenders for my eyes, but I don't. Think,
Yeah.
I don't think about them as defenders. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't generally think of basketball players only in terms of defense.
No,
either,
but I mean, there are a lot of guys. I think that's an important piece of what you're trying to accomplish here. Like defensive player of the year. This guy brought a lot to the table on the defensive side. Now, I don't want to make it so, oh, well, you have to be less good on offense than what Braden Smith is, because that's not the point of it either. But like, I don't know. If you're giving me one defender,
sure,
I'm not taking him over Sam Hoiberg.
Well, and then the other thing is there's not like any sort of massive shot blocking center or anything in the Big Ten this year that seems so obvious in that regard either.
Those guys are easy to give defensive players.
Well, they're just so visible in how they alter things in a way.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know if he'll win it or not. I continue to believe very strongly the coaches are going to vote him as a first.
Yeah, I keep hearing you say this.
First team All Big Ten.
I keep hearing you say this.
I mean, I think his value is always reflected by what the coaches say after the games whenever they're talking about Nebraska. Doesn't hurt that his dad is the opposing coach. But
I couldn't agree more. But I just don't know if they'll do it.
I just think he's the guy that coaches are always the most like, oh, I would love to have that.
They are.
Every time.
And they're correct.
But you can take Price's shooting ability and Frager's explosiveness, and they're always going to pick what Sam Hoiberg is bringing.
Yeah, I mean, they are absolutely correct about that. He should be, but I just don't think he will.
Yeah. I'm going to believe that it happened.
All right. Way to go, Schaefer. He's,
Thank you.
He's running.
Thank you.
If Mike Schaefer was a coach, he would put him on. But if he was in the media, he wouldn't.
No, I mean, if I was in the media, I would. I'm saying the media they won't.
They will not.
I don't even know if he'll make second team for the media.
They don't do a second.
They only do a first team for the media?
Oh, I thought you were talking about defense.
I was talking all Big Ten player.
Play period, yeah. Yeah, no, they'll do a second team. They'll do a third team and probably a 12th team.
The honorable mentions. Everybody gets to be
one.
an honorable mention.
All right, we'll be back right at the hour after this on 1620 The Zone. Well, speaking of conference tournament tiebreakers, if you're interested in the Big East, so Creighton gets Providence at home on Saturday for their senior day, then Butler to finish off the season. They have the very dumb bye week to end the season. So their regular season is done next week. So they only have 2 remaining games. And at this exact moment, they're sitting a half a game ahead of DePaul. However, DePaul owns the season series in a sweep, and they're technically ahead of Creighton right now. So what Creighton needs in order to stay in that 4-5 game is to win both of their remaining games, which is very possible against Providence and Butler, and then have DePaul lose one of their final 3. You tell me, Schaefer, if this could happen. Could DePaul lose to Marquette, Villanova, or Butler?
Yes.
I agree.
I think they could lose to any of those 3.
I
teams.
agree.
At any,
I
it could
agree.
happen.
I agree.
They might
completely.
lose to more than one of those 3 teams.
I know. And that's where you get into the really dumb scenarios.
I don't think that they will lose to all 3 of those teams.
Creighton can basically kill Providence from the whole 4 or 5 conversation and, separate themselves from the rest of the league there. So making it like only DePaul. Then there's also the Seton Hall. They're 9-8 in the league right now, but Seton Hall finishes with UConn, Xavier, and St. John's. So like they could fall potentially out of that sort of mix as well. That's what Creighton's shooting for at this point, to not play on Wednesday of the Big East tournament.
We need a Big East like playoff machine, kind of like you get on for the NFL. You just kind of see how each results impact.
I got one right now. I got the bball.nothing.net.
Okay.
What do you want to see, Joey?
I just want to see what other scenarios can get Creighton in that 4-5 game, even if they drop one of their last 2.
Okay.
I'm just curious.
Let's say they lose at Butler, a place where they have struggled mightily. Seton Hall, I think, would have to lose out in order for Creighton to be in there. Let's see. I have DePaul. Let's have DePaul win against Marquette. Let's have DePaul lose to Villanova, and let's have DePaul beat Butler, which I think actually seems potentially likely. At that point, DePaul and Creighton would both be 9-11.
No.
And obviously DePaul would get the tiebreaker there. Seton Hall would be 10-10 in that moment. So you need an extra loss, I think, by Seton Hall. It seemed like if Creighton loses any of their next 2, it's very, very unlikely.
Yeah.
At this point. So that's what they have going for them.
It feels like the Creighton Providence game is sort of just like this knockout game, because it's almost, I feel like if Providence wins that, their chances of beating both Marquette and Georgetown to finish out the year are reasonably high.
I don't know what to make of Providence.
Joey sort of mentioned he thought they were the worst team in the Big East the other day, and then you sort of look up and they could end up as a 5 seed in this.
In terms of how it's been for the last few seasons,
Yeah.
Providence been at the bottom with DePaul, but DePaul has been on the rise lately.
Mm-hmm.
DePaul's back, folks. That's what Joey's saying. So yeah, that's what's sort of on the line. If Creighton
and if you get that 6 seed, you're playing at 8:00 Central Time tip for opening round on Wednesday the 11th. I'm looking at the schedule. So the 8-9 plays at 3, then 5:30 is the 7-10, and then 8:00 is the 6-11 game.
Okay, so like obviously it would be horrible for Creighton to play an extra game, but they're capable of beating another team down there. It's just like we said, if you get an extra game, it makes it more likely that you lose, especially in Creighton's case where they can't seem to put a consistent product game by game. So you do want to play one less game. Obviously, if you're able to win that first one, if you're in the 4 or 5 game, which I think Creighton's able to do that too, then you're looking dead in the eye of the number 1 seed, which is going to be either St. John's or UConn. And, St. John's will be playing in front of their home crowd, basically. UConn will basically be 2 as well. Also, something is unlocked in them where they look, they look like they're angry now.
Is there like a weird argument?
And Creighton beat UConn in the Big East tournament last year.
Is there a weird argument that being a 6 wouldn't be that bad because you avoid playing?
See, that's the thing. I still think no, because you'd have to play an extra game. And
if you win that extra game,
yeah, but are they going to win the extra game?
Finishing over 500.
I think they have just as good of a chance of losing the first game against the 11 seed than they do getting to the semifinal.
Or in Schaefer's terms, a better chance at getting to the crown.
Yeah.
No,
which is what he wants for all of us.
That's what I'm saying. It's a worse chance.
I want it to be a crown town.
I do too. I think they're probably on the outside looking into the crown right now.
Let's get them to the crown.
Get them to the crown.
What is their current record overall is
14-15.
14-15. So they would need to win at least 3 games to assure that they finish above 500.
Well, if you think they're just going to lose one more in the Big East tournament, that would put you at like 2 down. You could to assure over 500.
Yeah, to be over. Yeah. Does that matter to you at all at this point?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
There's a part of me where it's like, if it's McDermott's last year, it would sort of feel, I don't know. Again, it doesn't really matter, but if it's his last year, like not going out under 500 could matter a little bit.
It's important. Like, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. But like, because
the season, McDermott's last year finishes with a crown title. Wow. What a way to go out.
I don't know if this is
Nebraska just is the state of the crown basketball champions.
We run the crown. We run this crown.
The airports
tonight.
are just the home of the crown. They each have replica crowns.
That would be great
in their airport.
They could put up a new banner in the airport. Something like that. Welcome to Crown Town.
Crown Town.
It is Josh Dix and Nick Graves' senior night. And it'll come with we were sort of debating the other night what that might look like. Neither of those guys are much of talkers, so their speeches afterwards probably won't last very long, but I was wondering sort of how they'd be received. For Graves, if you're looking back on this season for them, I was thinking about this a lot yesterday. I just think point guard in this system is so much, especially when you don't have defined scorers and people that could take some weight off your shoulders around you. And so I think ideally, and then outside of that, you're dealing with your own stuff too. Like, ideally, you would have liked to have him make decisions quicker and fit in better with the offense, in a faster manner. It's part of the reason why I got off to such a slow start this year. Go with a little bit more pace. But unfortunately, I think because of the lack of what's around him, he's had to settle into being, like he's really trying to get to the free throw line and kind of slow things down a little bit. And it just, if he were to, and he can't, if he were to come back for another year, he has a much better understanding of the pace.
Sure.
I think he's got a really good feel for the game, and he's done, a lot of what the offense has asked him to this year. He's just had a lot on his shoulders. And it's the same story with Dix, who I think has probably had to exert way more on the defensive end than I don't know, that we thought he was even capable of this year, and wasn't ready at first to sort of like demand the ball and demand shots and all
that
those
hadn't been his
things.
role at Iowa. No. He was sort of able to
cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
Cog in the wheel. And so it just, that's where you start looking back at the beginning of the year and how it was sort of constructed and all of those different things. But we're talking about 2 good players, like good college basketball players who I can't help but think about if they were back for another year, what would happen, and I suppose it is still possible for Dix, because I don't think he's redshirted, but which is sort of wild to think about. But it'll be an interesting day, sort of emotionally, I think, on Saturday.
What do you think because I mean, this hasn't happened a lot for Creighton, where your only seniors are guys that have been here for 1 year. You don't have like the longevity with them. It comes in a year that has been a trying year, to say the very least, but a very emotional year, especially in the case of Josh Dix. Like that day alone. is just going to carry a lot with it too.
Yeah, like Jemiah's last year was that. But he obviously was on the same senior day as Kalkbrenner.
Well,
and
that's what I mean.
Ashworth.
Like
Right.
this is a senior day where it's literally, well, you've got them for their senior year.
Right.
Otherwise, they were at Iowa and Charlotte.
There's been a couple guys, obviously, where they've had a bunch of 1 year guys before, but like you said, I don't know off the top of my head. Certainly, I wouldn't know if they've ever had one where it's only been 1 year guys. You've only graduated 1 year guys.
Because obviously, I think about it in the Nebraska perspective. In the last 2 years, really the last three. I mean, you've kind of had these sort of fan favorites that have been there for at least a couple years. In the case of Hoiberg, like he's been there now for 5. You'll have Rink Mast as part of that as well. So that's going to be its own thing. Last year was Jawan and Bryce, in addition to Braxton Mia, which I don't know got the same response as Jawan and Bryce.
Probably not.
And then they went out and got smoked by Iowa in a game they needed to win desperately. So, it doesn't exactly lead to strong play necessarily either.
Yeah.
The big emotion around it.
Yeah.
So
we'll see what it looks like tomorrow.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
It'll tip off at 4:30. And you can hear pregame coverage starting at 3 with Shoot Around. All right, we'll be back after this 9:00 hour coming up on 1620 The Zone. All right, 10 or so minutes, we'll talk with our good friend Jake Sorensen from the Ticket in Lincoln and get you off into your weekend. News from the Omaha Mavericks, introducing Omaha's first ever jersey patch sponsor, Control Services. There you go. They're going on the uniform next year. Which just reminds me of a take that I had buried inside, and I haven't really thought about it in a while. So here it comes. Are you ready? It's bubbling up. Why do people care so much about the jersey patches? Thank you, Joey. Why do people care so much about the jersey patches? This is every time, like LSU did their thing, and it's like it's like a big topic around college football. I can't believe they would put the jersey patches on the jerseys. Like, who cares? I don't know. We don't notice it. They've been doing it in the NBA for 5 years now. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter.
Is it like a very specific group of people who already care too much about jerseys as it is care too much about the patch?
I don't even know if it's about.
Is it the people who are like,
jerseys.
oh, this is introducing corporations into our beloved amateur athletic?
There's a mix of that. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Like, these aren't things that I really care about. Like,
I know you don't.
You and I, we watch baseball. Like, who is the sleeve sponsor that's for the Royals?
QT.
Yeah, for the Guardians, it's like Marathon, which is a gas station.
That's right.
And you see it.
We both have gas stations. Handshake meme.
Maybe that's why they're fueled by their pitching staff and pitching development. So it's like you notice it, and then you immediately go back to not caring about it.
Thank you. Yes,
that's the only way I can describe it, because very rarely will I ever see a patch on a jersey and it stops me from whatever thought that I have.
Now, this is Dave's point on YouTube. Like, I agree with this. He says, because I prefer basketball/football/baseball uniforms to not look like soccer jerseys. If we ever get to the point where like in soccer jerseys, especially like MLS ones, they don't even have team names anymore. They just have like the United Airlines Hawks.
Yeah.
Basically, like, if we get to that point, I agree with you completely.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
A patch, like, it's not going to bother me.
It's a small little thing in the corner of the uniform. Obviously, like, I get the whole corporate America, sell out for money. These schools are just trying to earn revenue. Like, I get it, but I really, really don't notice it. And in some cases, even I think it makes for like it kind of ties it together. Even a little bit. I kind of like patches in general, as long as there's not
too many patches. Too many patches.
That's the problem. You can't get into too many patches.
Because I think once you start having like 3 or 4 patches, you've gone down the slippery slope.
Nebraska is one patch away, football-wise, from being full.
You got one patch left.
They have one patch available.
Make it count.
And that patch will go to Rob Seco or something like that, Rob Seco, sideline reports. Have you ever heard those on the broadcast?
No, I haven't.
Oh, wow, really? The Nebraska Corn Board?
I'm familiar with that.
Okay.
I was thinking it'd be like
Nebraska Department of Highway Safety and Transportation.
There's one that they have for baseball that every time they do their bullpen change, it's the dig number.
Oh, yeah, 811 before
and I have
dig.
to hear those commercials,
yeah.
And I just like they've broken my brain.
There's something about the baseball broadcast where you really just remember. Like I know all the College World Series ones. Yeah. Joey, go give it to me.
Well,
what happens when a walk happens, Joey?
Person goes to a base.
No,
I'm sorry.
The sponsor.
Oh, for the CW.
Walking is good for the heart.
I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
Pay attention, Joey. I'm just kidding. I put you.
You get to go to first base.
You do get to go to first base.
He wasn't wrong.
That is
true. He was not wrong.
And many people go to first base during the College World
Series. Something
Series.
interesting there, because it is true. Like, and I listen to baseball on the radio more than any other sport, so I have to start there. So that's part of why I probably just know more of the advertising with it. But like with Nebraska baseball, like it's the same, or it always feels like it's the same advertisers. And then when you're tied to specific things that happen in the game, and one of them is a bullpen thing, and it's one of those games where they're just going to the bullpen a lot, like you're getting that commercial a lot. So It's just, you sort of get, hammered with it, if you would.
Oh, yeah. Beat over the head. Indeed. And I get that. I get that.
But I don't think a singular patch is doing that.
I get how it's annoying for the consumer. Now, the other thing is, someone said, David said on YouTube, he said the best patch is the Love's gas patch on the Oklahoma City Thunder because it matches their colors. So they're doing this now where even if the brand doesn't match from a color perspective,
They color match?
They match it to it. Yeah.
That's good. That's smart.
nice.
Yeah.
Just make it feel seamless.
Make it even more invisible
Yeah.
on the uniform.
I just don't have a problem. White, I like that it stands out a little bit.
I just don't know why this is such a big topic every time it happens. Now I guess that's what KG is saying. At the same time, I'm talking about it, so fair enough. KG says patches on a uniform is a topic today. Must be nothing going on. First of all, yes, there is nothing going on. That's true.
It's a Friday. We're getting ready for the
9:00
weekend.
in the morning. But,
We've got Sorensen coming up. He has an opinion on patch.
oh yeah, he'll be anti for sure.
You think he'll be anti for sure?
Well,
Guaranteed.
we got to get his stance on the Dolphins tanking for Arch
Okay.
Manning.
That's true.
We got to make sure we get that from
I was
him.
going to ask him if he had golfed any time here so far recently.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
save that
he's
one.
probably got. He may have
I
got.
wanted to know how many
It's
rounds
probably a
he
little
might have gotten.
soppy out there.
It would seem.
A little wet.
I didn't take my kid to the park yesterday because I was worried the ground would be a little bit too wet.
A little
and
mushy.
I'm gonna have to get over this, but I don't like messy hands. I don't like my child being messy. I don't want him being dirty and then coming into our house.
I agree, but that's apparently
We
what
might have to
kids
set
do.
up like a station in the garage where I just hose them down. Like that.
Oh.
That might have to be a thing.
like one of those nozzles when you come off the beach where you wash all the sand off you.
I mean, I've got enough space. Like I can put up some shower curtain thing, and like I don't have a drain. That would be the one problem.
You're gonna have to install a drain.
Yeah, we're gonna
That
have
would
to
really defeat the purpose
use the
if you didn't have a
sinkhole.
drain.
just gonna have to let Shelby know we're gonna need to get a drain for the entire purpose that I can spray our child with water so he never comes into the house.
Just
dirty.
establish your own sinkhole.
Yeah, so you were talking about the baseball ads that just stick. A couple of people on YouTube mentioning the basketball ads. Alex says looking forward to lots of Central Valley Ag threes from LA. Blue Jays R6 writes in, I can't get 5 points banked out of my head for 3-pointers because of Bishop. It is an absurd 3-point sponsor. 5 points back. It's so funny. It's so good too.
Listening on Wednesday, driving back, and it's just like, it's another 5 points. It's like, wait a minute. Oh, okay.
And it's one of those things to like Creighton fans who listen on the radio. It just makes sense to us. I'm sure if you're listening for the first time, you're like, what is he talking about?
Well,
is it a
seamless for
5-pointer?
Bishop.
I should just go back.
It sticks for me, but it's like he's seamless with it. It
I know.
doesn't,
No, I mean, when I filled in for him last year, it was automatic for me because I listened to John so much.
Right, yeah.
And like that's
funny.
You listen to how he delivers these type of calls.
It was just automatic.
Did you immediately well up with anger towards the officials? Was that automatic? Did you bring that into your call?
I don't think I got mad at refs at DePaul last
You don't
year.
strike me.
No,
So
I don't. I could go back to what I saved from the game.
yeah, you don't strike me as someone who would have the Kent Pavelka, John Bishop like officiating conversation often.
No, I don't come from the angry at refs tree.
Yeah,
I don't think. I don't know.
It's disappointing because I think you could do it in a creative sense. I would love to hear it.
Probably get
He was
too
a little more.
personal.
He was
Now
a
I
little
want to
more.
imagine the sort of thing that has to happen to get you to that point.
He was getting a little more angry once he was with John Bishop in Vegas, and that's a whole different story. When
I
John
had
went
been in
virus.
Vegas for a couple days. The games hadn't gone well. I think the anger stems from a few different places there.
John rubbed off on me.
Yeah, well, and you're right next to him. It's just emanating from him.
It's hard not
I
to.
love it though. I texted Josh immediately when he had the "you blew it" call the other day because he's very, very good at being in the call and then seamlessly getting into chastising the official and then getting himself back into the flow of the game. Like, I love it. Like, it is so good to me.
And then
it is exactly what I want from my announcer when I'm listening to him calling a game for my team.
I think the best one is, and John's really good at this part too, like really bad call, blow up by John Bishop, and then get back into game action. And then what happens is like a regular call happens and he's like, well, there you go.
Seton Hall triple
It's
overtime.
about time.
The sardonic immediate response to like
Now you call it.
it's like he's bringing the Bronx cheer in from the broadcast. Like it's great.
The Seton Hall triple overtime is a great example of
That was the Evan Burrows "You Suck" and the maniacal laughing game.
Congratulations, you win a prize.
It's an all-timer.
Oh man.
He was on the air. He did not take any breaks from the under 4 in the second half till the end of the third overtime. Went on over an hour.
Incredible.
I got to give him a lot of props for that.
Dave follows up. He says, for the longest time, I thought CVA 3 was referring to the distance of the 3-point line from the old Continental Basketball Association. Yeah. But to us weirdo broadcasters, it's just normal.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. All right. When we come back, we will have a chat with our good friend Jake Sorensen and get you off into the weekend after this on 1620 Zone.
I'm kind of psychotic, so what else is new? I think you guys both know that my psychology is probably really can't assess how it operates. I don't even know how my brain works at all most days either. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, guys. You have not won a playoff game in 25 years. I don't believe ever in moral victories because they're a waste of time. My whole life would be a moral victory at that point. They're going to lose. It's the way sports go. It's very hard to go undefeated. I got the Royals going to the World Series this year. I don't care. I will follow this team wherever they go, and I will not complain about where they play. I don't want them to lose a game, but I kind of want to lose a game for the sake of
Jake
pressure.
Sorensen for losing.
Fridays with Jake Sorensen.
If I see him, I would not shake his hand.
93.7 The Ticket on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
We do morning show, guys. We're always on low sleep. That's the way it is.
There you go. That's pretty good. So the
How's
best
that for a compilation?
the part that gets me every time is like we're in this whole string of like sports suck, I hate everything, and then it's I think the Royals are going to win the World Series this year. It's just the best part by far. Hi, Jake.
Guys, well done. Well done on that compilation. Good morning.
That is our intrepid producer, Joey Colbert.
I had a lot of fun making that.
I'm sure you did. That was great. Nice work.
All right, so let's tap into the first emotion. We were talking about this earlier. We stumbled upon an NFL topic, and we wondered out loud what the Dolphins were going to do. And so you as being a Miami Dolphins fan, a very sad one at that. What do you think is the path forward for your beloved Miami Dolphins?
Well, guys, it's a cycle of doom in Miami. They have a good year every 5 years, and they blow it up. I mean, they blew it up. They are in cap hell right now. Tua is a non-functional quarterback for the Dolphins. They can't trade for him because he's not worth anything at this point. So I don't know what they're going to do. The Dolphins fans want Malik Willis. I'm like, they can't afford Malik Willis. He's going to go for a lot of money, and he's the top free agent quarterback in the market. So I'm not sure how, just because Jeff Hafley and John Eric Sullivan are from Green Bay, that he would just go there. There's no way. So the path is once again tanking, probably winning 3 games this year, being a complete waste of time, and hopefully drafting properly, building the trenches, and looking forward to 2 years down the road. It's just a complete and utter just waste of life following that team.
That was the thing. We couldn't decide if you were pro tanking or not. And I think we both landed on, I think he's probably going to want them to tank. And we got our answer. So thanks.
Well, I will always root for them to win because I'm a fan. I know that tanking is what they should do, but yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm enjoying this Nebraska basketball year. I'm trying to build a year of fun sports, and I know that it's going to be a complete waste of time in September following that crap team in the Dolphins. So I have to embrace the tank. I tried to embrace it years ago, and I hated it. So I have to go beyond what I guess is best for me to embrace it. And I will not support it, but I understand it because they need to do something to change the way it's gone.
A reasonable position.
Just to clarify, would you want them to cut Tua and just absorb all of that cap hell in like 1 year rather than spreading it out over 2 or 3? Like take as much of the bad right off the bat and put together the worst thing that you can, and then come out on the other side.
Probably so. I mean, this is a jailable offense for Chris Greer signing that contract in the first place. Just awful for a guy that has concussion issues. It's just, I mean, he had 1 really good year, maybe 2 good years. Just awful. So that's why we're in this position. But I guess I don't know if there's a right play here, Shape. That's probably the right play. But no, they keep saying we want someone to trade for him. Well, no crap, you want that, but nobody wants him because he's too expensive. He's damaged goods. I'm not sure the guy even loves football.
Okay.
Well, that sums up the Dolphins portion of this. Like, there's one other thing we probably want to get out of the way before we dive into the meat and potatoes here. How many rounds of golf have you played in the state of Nebraska to this point on February 27th?
Well, I'm not counting the round I played the day after Christmas when it was like 70 degrees. So I guess in 2026, I think I'm probably at 3 full rounds of golf. I have played a par 3 course a couple times. I don't count that.
Yeah,
I didn't play all 9 holes. So let's go with 3 rounds of golf on an 18-hole track.
That's pretty good. I mean,
that's
any this
better than
are
me.
you planning on getting out today?
No, I'm not getting out today, unfortunately. I'm going to Florida this weekend with my wife for a couple of days. So I'll play golf down there possibly. And then,
Go yell at the
definitely go
Dolphins.
in
Are you going to be down at
No.
Miami near the headquarters?
No, we're going to the Fort Myers area. I've never been there before. But we're gonna watch some spring training. I don't know which game we're gonna go to, which day, but we'll figure it out. And
Nice.
but we will play golf somewhere down there, and I will certainly play in Nebraska when I come back.
All right,
Times in March.
as we, Jake, inch closer and closer to, I referred to the opening game of the NCAA tournament for Nebraska ball this year as the wedding day, right? As we inch closer and closer to the big day, what are your emotions like, especially considering, what has been a mildly turbulent like last couple weeks, just as far as like taking losses? Where are the mentals at as we get closer and closer to the big day?
Well, here's the thing. I've never been in this spot before because every year in the past, as you guys know, if Nebraska makes the dance, it's like down to the wire. It's mostly, are we getting in? That's what your emotions are. Are we going to do enough to make the dance? Now that you're no doubt in, I have this. It's just weird because you're not sweating it about are we going to be in the field when it comes to Selection Sunday. Do we like our seating? Do we like who we're playing against? So I've never had this type of emotion with it where I'm not, it's just a different type of fear. But yeah, it's concerning. I mean, Nebraska still doesn't have a bad loss. The Iowa loss looks better now because they're 20-8. They're close to being ranked. They're going to be a 7 or 8 seed in the dance. So I don't know if I'll ever be at ease until the game is over and they've won the game, the first game of the dance. I'm not sure how a Nebraska fan could be at ease, whether you're a long-term fan, a new fan. Like this is so much that comes down to this game if they win it versus just being another team that fell short in the long history of that for Nebraska basketball. So I will not feel great until March 19th or 20th, whenever that game is, and the game is over, and it's going to be just nervous anxiety all the way until then.
You threw me when you said you won't feel great because I really wanted to ask if you're going to feel fine after you have 4 25-ounce
Hey,
beers.
you kind of had an I feel fine tweet this week. You said Maryland is an athletic team. No panic here. Good win for Nebraska ball.
Yep. I was at the game. I did have a couple libations. I thought that was a pretty accurate tweet, though. I stand by that even now. I mean, Maryland's not good. They're not a good team at all. Buzz Williams has a bad squad. I like that point guard Mills. Number 7 is pretty good. And Coit off the bench can go off. He did not go off that game. That's a bad team, but they're athletic. They'll probably sneak out a win somehow in the Big Ten tournament against a crappy team, and then go into misery in the offseason. But I mean, we just saw this week Michigan was a 22.5 point favorite against Minnesota. They won by 10. It wasn't pretty. We're kind of in the weird spot of the season where guys are getting tight. Things aren't as easy, and bad teams can sneak up on you. Northwestern won in Indiana last week. So weird things happen. Oregon beat Wisconsin by 14. Just at this point, I'm fine with any win, how it happened. And I kind of thought they'd pull away, and they did against Maryland. And was it pretty the whole time? No, but it's never going to be pretty. I'm fine with that.
I'm curious. I don't know if you saw this tweet from Sam McEwen yesterday, but I am fascinated what your answer would be because I think there's a few options. I put out 5 of them myself. But if you were going to rewatch one Husker hoops game from the last 3 to 4 years for sheer enjoyment, what game do you call up?
Ooh, dang, great question. You got several options there. I kind of, part of me will go back to the Creighton game from last year. It was a surprise Nebraska won that game.
Yeah, that was on my list of 5.
You had that
at Omaha. Yeah. I had no thought of a Nebraska win in that game. I didn't think it was possible to that.
Probably the most surprised I've been ever being in the arena. I went in just against my will because we had tickets to this. It's in Omaha. I didn't really want to go, and then Nebraska ends up winning. I was stunned by that entire thing.
Yeah, that has to be in the consideration. I think that I'd say the Illinois game this year on the road, just the fact that Price had 26 points at halftime and Jamarcus hits the buzzer beater like that was such an epic moment. That game kind of defined the season. We all know that week in general, beating Creighton at home by 20-some points, beating Wisconsin by 30, then winning at Illinois still is the highlight of the year, hands down, for Nebraska basketball and back in December. So I'd say, honestly, any of those 3 games in that conversation. But I would probably go back to the Creighton game on the road Friday night last season. Even though this season's been unbelievable, that was just such a shock. And I don't think anybody saw that coming. So the season did not end as you wanted to, besides winning a postseason tournament in the Crown last year. But that game was sweet. So I'll go with that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. Like in a vacuum, individual games, and you're usually looking for which has given me the most, like, just unadulterated, unbridled, like, joy.
That was third on my list.
A surprising win against a blood rival. Like, I would think so. There, it was.
So I think.
Go ahead.
I think it's Creighton one. I think it's Illinois this year. Either 2 or 1.
That was fourth.
Those are both the ones I'd look at.
Surprised you didn't go with beating number 1 ranked Purdue. Figured that could be on your list.
Yeah.
And then I saw a lot of this from people, and it was the same reason I included it. The absolute and utter torching of Indiana in that Big Ten tournament last year, or not last year, 2 years ago, was one of those just like, they just can't keep doing this, right? And then Tominaga throws in another 30-foot three-pointer and runs down the court as the guy in the Wild Thing jacket is just gyrating on the side court there as he's celebrating, becoming a Nebraska basketball fan just because of what they're doing to Indiana.
But didn't Mike Woodson get kicked out of that game too?
He might have.
I thought he got ejected in that game.
That seems very possible here.
And Nebraska's rolled. I mean, those are great games. I guess I didn't put Purdue because I kind of still mad at myself for not going to that game.
I forgot about that.
That was an 8 p.m. tip, I believe. I just decided not to go. Didn't think they were going to win the game. And then they hit 14 threes. Tominaga was great. They shut down Zach Edey. And that was a hell of a win. But I think the fact I was not there and upset about that is probably why I still would lean towards Creighton last year and then this year's amazing Illinois game in Champaign, where again Price was awesome. Jamarcus buzzer beater, just that was a sensational win. Still,
when was the last time Nebraska football had like just a purely shocking, surprising, whatever you want to call it, win, like that?
2015 Michigan State.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, you have to think, don't you? I mean, that's probably in the consideration. 2015. That was 11 years ago.
How many? No. Yeah, I mean, I'm really trying to think about it.
The only game,
and don't get me wrong. There's everybody around here. Like we go into games now, and we think that Nebraska's going to lose every single one of them. So the bar to reach of like, I'm surprised they won, isn't that high.
Yeah.
And yet, still, that's the last one. Maybe.
I would maybe put in that conversation 2022 Iowa, the way it happened.
That was a surprising win. That's fair.
The fact Nebraska was up 24-0 at Iowa, who was trying to win the division still. I mean, that was, and Nebraska couldn't go to a bowl game. They had nothing really to gain there besides just winning against Iowa. But I would say that would be the one in the last 10 years besides Michigan State 2015 that was a surprise. And that was not even a great Iowa team. They were good, as they usually are, nothing outstanding. But the fact that you were up a 24-0, that's the shocking part of that game.
I feel like the runaway winner of you did a football version of Sam's question would be the Colorado game from 2024. But then it's like you get to the end of the first half.
It's such a bummer to end.
Yeah, you get to the end of the first half and it's like, you really want to watch the second half? You just get to see Ja'Cory Barney plays called back. That's all it really was.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a rough second. I mean, they obviously won that game handily, but 28-zip at half, that was amazing. And it's just buzz kill second half, but they won the game. So
yeah, if you could just somehow repeat the first like 3 drives over and over.
I'm gonna watch the first half, and then I'm gonna watch the first half again, but in reverse.
In reverse.
I'll see Ramirez score that touchdown, and then I'll work my way back to Tommy Hill with the pick six.
That was the moment.
Yeah. That's how you do it. I am in favor of that viewing of that.
Then they win 56-0.
That's true.
Changes things completely.
Totally better.
Jake, we will let you go. Enjoy your weekend in Florida. Come back and get ready to go for the big dance.
Hey, question for you guys: Are you guys ready for prepare for the 10 p.m. game against UCLA on Tuesday? Because I am just loathing that right now for 6 a.m. morning radio.
I think I might skip it. I don't know.
Schaefer's not skipping that.
No,
I'm not skipping it.
Schaefer's not skipping it.
I'm not. So, like, I can stay up to watch the game. Here's the problem. I'm not going to be able to get to sleep right after the game. Like I'm not.
I know.
The
Yeah.
way my brain
All-nighter.
is, the way, and of course, it's probably going to be a close game. There's going to be something stupid that happens. I'm either going to be elated or mad.
Would you turn it off at halftime if Nebraska was up by 12?
No.
No. Hell no.
I wouldn't turn it
No.
off either way. Like
Really?
Well, they showed against Purdue like they can come back from large numbers. They've shown in previous iterations they can blow large numbers. I mean, there's no way. I couldn't I would not turn it off.
You're in it all the way home.
Plus there's a volatility of Mick Cronin on the sidelines. There's probably going to be text to tab throughout this game.
Yeah.
I just the issue is I'm not going to get to sleep until like 1:30 in the morning, and I got to wake up at 5.
Short sleep. Yep. It's gonna be tough.
I have one more question. Actually, I have one more
Oh,
question,
yeah,
Jake.
no.
Does it get you've been doing the morning show for like 15 years now.
Yeah.
Does it get any easier?
No.
Okay.
No, getting up is always a pain in the ass.
Great.
It really is.
Awesome.
It's tough, and you just do it because it's the job, and that's when you're on the air. So
that's what we're gonna do.
I've never felt it got easier, so I can't say it does.
Okay. All right. Well, appreciate that. All right, Jake. Have a good weekend. See you later.
See you guys. Bye.
Jake Sorensen from 93.7 The Ticket. Good to know.
Does it get easier? No.
I wasn't planning on him saying anything other than that, but yeah.
Maybe if we have BTN on the day after, they'll do a condensed version of the game. Then we just watch it from there.
I'm still staying up. That's
Maybe they will. Yeah.
They might. They very well could. I woke up at 4:30 today, realized I hadn't set my alarm. Set my alarm, which would go off 20 minutes later.
Whoa.
Fell immediately back to sleep. Woke up to my alarm and was furious.
What a save, though.
I woke up in sheer panic. Like I knew that I hadn't somehow my brain reached into my sleep to tell me that I hadn't set my alarm.
Yeah.
And I woke up like, oh, what if it's 5:30? This is a disaster, et cetera, et cetera. It's 4:30, set it, fall back asleep before I think I even got finished setting the alarm.
Yeah.
And then just instantaneous wake up to the alarm.
Yeah, it's tough.
So mad.
I've been having not that anyone actually cares about this, but I've been having this weird run lately of like 3 out of the 5 days a week. So I set my alarm for 5. 3 out of the 5 days of the week, I will wake up. My body will wake me up at literally 4:59.
Yeah,
no, I don't.
That'll happen.
But that's just so irrationally angering.
Your body
to me.
recognizes you're supposed to be up at this point, and you start waking yourself up.
I know why.
And it's happening on the weekend when I don't work.
Why doesn't it just let me do it? Why doesn't it just let me do it for one more minute?
So Joey points out the real downside of this, and it's on the weekends where you like to sleep in.
See, that's okay because I can usually make it till like 6:30 or 7 or something like that, and by that time I want to be up anyway. So,
I mean, at least you're getting a couple of extra hours of sleep,
Sure.
so that it's still sleeping in.
And it's
Our
on my own
child
terms.
refuses. He's just like, oh, it's a weekend. I get up earlier now. It's like he just knows. He doesn't sleep in. He's not someone who will just lay in bed and watch something. He's just like, I got to be up. There's Matchbox cars for me to smash and play with downstairs. Let's go. Where are the waffles? It's 5:45. I want waffles.
Please send us your condolences at Happer and Schaefer on Twitter. I'm sure everyone cares about this. All right, we'll be back after this to round things out on a Friday on 1620 The Zone. All right. Welcome back here on a Friday. Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, and on 1620thezone.com. There's an article today by dear friend Mitch Sherman of The Athletic from regarding Sam Hoiberg and his sort of journey to get to the end of his career being on one of, if not the best Nebraska basketball team of all time. Let me read you an excerpt here, Mike and Joey. This winter, Nebraska's 20-0 start landed it as one of the first tourney locks. It eliminated stress, Sam said. All of it matters in the bid for that elusive first win. Quote, this is the year, Sam said. One thing that we haven't talked about a lot with that team is they do not shy away from
Very
talking about it. They're very confident, and you can ask them about it. Hey, like what happens if you win? What happens if you lose? Or how bad do you want that first tournament win? They'll talk about it. Like, it's not like some sort of weird jinx or hex or something like that. They're like, yeah, cards out on the table. We think we're going to win, and we think we're really good. We could play against anybody. I love that.
Part of that is just you win 20 straight games. You win on the road at a place like Illinois.
Yeah.
You have a guy in Rink Mass that was there and Jamarcus Lawrence that were there when you went to the tournament last. There's just a wealth of experience. And this is part of what concerned me with the Iowa game and the losses leading up to it, sort of that air of invincibility, and they carried themselves like that. And I still think they're searching to find what they had before that a little bit. And if you go win these 3 games, and they're all, I think, quad 1 wins, like, that's a hell of a way to finish your year before you're going to the Big Ten.
I almost forgot about quads.
Well, it doesn't matter in terms of their resume is already their resume.
Yeah.
But the idea is, like, they're not ranked teams. These are, if you go win back-to-back in USC and UCLA on the road, this is a really good, stretch of wins that you can put together here.
I have missed, speaking of quads, I just realized something about myself. I can't tell if I miss, because we don't have any teams around here who are on the bubble this year. I can't tell if I missed the bubble talk or if I was annoyed by the bubble talk, and I'm glad that it's not here anymore. I have to sift through those feelings. But I just noticed I didn't just notice that we don't have a bubble team here, but I've noticed that we haven't talked about quads this year, I think I'm pretty fired up about it. Like, I think it's pretty good.
Just considering how the season went for the Blue Jays, there hasn't really been any talk.
No, and Nebraska is obviously way above it.
Yeah.
So no quad talk this year.
No quad talk. I check in on the bubble watch thing just to make sure Nebraska remains in the lock. I don't actually.
I was gonna say, do you really?
No.
All right.
I like it's mainly to see, like, okay, what does this year look like bubble wise? Where are some of these teams? I'm always fascinated because, like, the guy who writes it, Neil Payne, you can tell there's just certain teams where he's never really going to update the wording of it. And Miami of Ohio is very much one of those. Like, the first 3 sentences are the exact same and have been for a month.
Ooh.
And then the final sentence is always, this is who they beat and this is who they play next.
Well, I mean, that's where you can get into real danger, talking about all the quads.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Miami of Ohio much. So
they play tonight.
You know what we didn't do today?
What?
We completely and utterly failed to have a city of the day for the first time in 3 weeks.
Oh no! Disaster.
Wow.
What? Should we quickly do it?
Los Angeles is your city of the day.
No. Chat, give us a city.
Yeah.
Chat, give us a city.
We need a city.
We'll dive deep into it real quick. By the way, Black Cat writes in on YouTube, as is tradition, it's a quote weak/soft bubble, just like every year, because there's more than enough teams at 68. That is correct, my friend. That is indeed correct. And yet there are still some people who are like, I love 74. I love 76. I love 126.
No, and hell no.
Absolutely not. Although, if you're already expanding it to the 80s or the 90s, like, I mean, I guess just put everybody in at that point. No, I know you don't either.
I know you don't.
But, like, they're going to do it against our will because they have enough shills on the outside to be like, yes, I like this idea. It's good.
We just don't need endless playoff expansion.
We do not.
We have it in every sport, but we don't need it.
All right, we have our city of the day. Are you ready? This is our most random city of the day
Okay.
from Dave on YouTube. And he's the only person who's put in a suggestion that I've seen so far.
Thank
so
you,
we're
Dave.
going with it. Paducah, Kentucky. I have been to Paducah, Kentucky. And this is not like a have you been there, have you driven through there type of thing. I didn't go there for a specific reason, but like I remember on one of our family road trips back in the day, going through Paducah, Kentucky, stopping in Paducah, Kentucky, spending some time there. I have a friend who ended up like living there for a period of time in Paducah, Kentucky. So that is our city of the day, the county seat of McCracken County, Kentucky. That's right. McCracken County.
Would you like some Paducah facts?
I would love some
I would
Paducah
love some facts.
I'll find the Paducah famous alumni.
Paducah is known as Quilt City, USA.
Whoa.
It has one of the most popular quilt museums in the United States.
Shout out to
That is
quilts.
one of its big attractions. Also known for over 50 large murals painted alongside the flood wall that depict local history and scenes, the riverfront murals. There's all of these smaller towns sort of claim to have a historic downtown. They claim to have a historic downtown.
Yep.
What is historic about it? Unclear. Its growth was tied to riverboat commerce and railroads because of its strategic river location.
I have a few very good famous people from
Let's do
Paducah. All right. How about Boots Randolph, a saxophonist who was a major part of the Nashville Sound for most of his professional career, best known for his hit Yakety Sax, which became Benny Hill's signature tune, of course. The guy who did Yakety Sax for the first time is from Paducah.
That's incredible. Yakety Sax is one of those things that the people that know it, like you can describe a sports play
Yes.
or, any sort of random occurrence as like a Yakety Sax moment, and they know instantly what you're describing.
I got one for you specifically. Phil Maton.
Wow.
Former Cleveland Guardian, Phil Maton. Current Cleveland Guardian?
No, he's not.
no.
He's not there anymore.
No. He is from Paducah, Kentucky.
Look at that.
Wow.
He was very valuable to get to the seventh inning at times a couple years ago.
You gotta have a good swing man.
When you don't have pitchers that can do it themselves as starters, you need to have those middle relievers.
Not basketball player, but baseball player Steve Finley. Do you remember baseball Steve Finley?
Yeah, Steve Finley was really good.
He was awesome.
He's like really good.
He's from Paducah, Kentucky.
He's not Hall of Fame, but he's like borderline. Could
He
have
had like a
conversation.
couple like MVP caliber years.
Yeah, no, he had some like Steve Finley's really good.
Didn't Steve Finley hit 4 home runs in a game? Or who am I thinking of?
I don't know if he ever hit 4 home runs in a game. So he's a 2-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glove winner. He was on the Diamondbacks World Series team in 2001.
Yes, he was.
He basically, he had like a 45 WAR career, if that means anything to anybody. 320 steals, had another 300. He's a 300 guy, which there's a handful of those, but it's more rare than you think.
Steve Finley had a game. Had his second career game-ending grand slam against the Giants in 2004. Got the Dodgers the NL West in 2004. I remember that to sort of end the regular.
He played
season.
on He played on every team in the NL West.
Wow, look at that! How about Paducah, Kentucky?
Incredible.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that, and apologize to all you people out there who missed our city of the day from earlier. Husker Hoop Central came in a little bit late and said Ashland, Nebraska to honor Cale Jacobson.
We could look into that in the future.
We could have done that. All right. We are done for the week, ladies and gentlemen. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Let's do a Friday crossover coming up next.